to take the oath. After them, we will then take the data protection and then the COCO board. So, clerk, if you can take National Commission for Civic Education and National Youth Authority through the process. Thank you.
I swear by the Almighty God that the evidence I shall give before this committee touching the matter in issue shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Let's have NCC at the table. Now, honorable members, we'll do self-introduction of members and our support staff. Then the NCC will also introduce themselves to the committee. Let me start from my right, Honorable Charles.
Good morning. My name is Charles Ejampong, MP for Lower West Akem, and a member of the committee.
Good morning. My name is Samson Tangwambu Chiragia, MP Nabrongo Central, a member of the committee.
Chairman, good morning. My name is Roxanne Nelson Dapamako, MP for South 9, member.
Joanna Abnasechi Eje, clerk to the committee.
My name is James Kluche Aveji. I'm the MP for Katunov and the chair of this committee.
My name is Kofi Ochre Ajekum. I'm the MP for Fantiakwa South in the Eastern region, and I'm the ranking member of the committee.
Good morning. My name is Davis Ansampoku. I'm the MP for Mpraiso, the deputy ranking member for the committee.
My name is Suleimana Yusuf. I'm the MP for Bole Bamboy, a member of the committee.
Good morning. I am Alhaj Mohammed Bawa Brahima, representing the good people of Edrese Chedumasi and a member of this committee.
My name is Ufa Kwaku, MP for Bumdomi Abra, member of the committee. Thank you.
Good morning. Kofi Adams is my name. MP for Buim from the Oti region, member of the committee.
Louis Yadombwache, senior stand clerk.
I am Elizabeth Butchie, Audit Service, Commercial Audit Department.
And I'm Chris Doku from the Audit Service.
My name is Alexander Kumsen, Audit Service.
Good morning. My name is Samuel Asare Kwamo. I'm the Deputy Chairman of the NCC, and I'm in charge of program operations.
Good morning. I am Kathy Adi, Deputy Chairman, Finance and Administration, NCCE.
Good morning. Please, I'm Monica Mamata, Director of Finance, NCCE.
Good morning. My name is Dora Hammond, Director Administration for NCCE.
All right, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
So we'll go straight to the issues raised in the report by the Auditor General. There are three main management issues. But before we get to the management issue, let's look at your income statements and your financial position. The salvation from government, about 30.6 million. Your compensation alone, it's 28.8 million. What it means is that whatever government is giving the commission, virtually everything is used to pay compensation.
Yes, Chairman, you're right.
So how do you operate?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair and Committee. If you look at the income statement, you will see that, and we are looking at the year 2016, where we had goods and services to the tune of 2,203,022 Ghana cedis, and that is what we use for goods and services. As you have rightfully noted, this is quite short of what a commission our size will need.
Now, I'll come back to that later. The service donor fund.
Yes.
Do you mean to say goods and services funding that is provided by the donors?
Yes, mainly EU support. We were running an EU project over the period, and that reflects the EU support that we received.
Yeah. So that for the expenditure portion, you spend 5.6 million. If you add the GOG expenditure, means that you spend 7.6 million.
Yes.
As expenditure.
Yes.
To run NCC the whole country, right?
Yes, Chairman. In 2016.
Is that the reason why some of your offices cannot even buy printers costing 500 Ghana cedis?
Yes, our needs go way beyond even printers. Sometimes we have offices that don't even have furniture, chairs and tables for people to sit on and work. In some districts, we actually don't have offices at all, and sometimes directors have to operate from their homes.
This is serious.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Chairman.
Now you are supposed to be educating the public. If you don't have the resources to work, the public will not be educated, and then there are a lot of information that the public will not have.
Honorable Chairman, we do our utmost best with what we have to try and deliver on our mandate to the extent that we can under the circumstances.
Honorable Member, what are we going to do to ensure that governments, successive government, provide the NCC with the resources? Because this is something that has been happening not now. It looks like no government wants the public to be educated, be aware. Probably, if the public is aware, they will stand up against us. So we don't want the public to know. What should we do? Yes, Honorable Bawa.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I think the NCC is a creation of the Constitution, and it behoves on all of us, especially as parliamentarians, to be able to speak for them, to ensure that at least adequate budgetary allocations are made to them to carry out their mandate of civic education. We all are aware of the happenings in this country of late. And I believe if the NCC is well resourced to carry out its mandate, it will go a long way to help the youth of this country at least know their rights and then where to act and where not to act. And for that matter, the recent happenings that we have seen, the hooliganism, let me say, disregard for law and order, and all these things, I think we can. I mean, if we are not able to name it in the bad, at least we'll be reduced to the barest minimum. So
Honorable,
I plead that all of us as legislators, not only the Public Accounts Committee, should make a case for the NCC to be well resourced. Because if you go to some districts and you look at their setup, their offices, most especially, even in some areas, me as a member of parliament, I mean, at a point sometimes I used to assist the commission with money even to run fuel, to run their offices. Sometimes even, like you said, even ink to print their letters is a problem. And for that matter, I mean, if you look at, if we all agree that the NCC should function and function well, that at least we all have to make a case for them to ensure that at least adequate budgetary provisions are made for them. Thank you.
Honorable Yusuf.
Chairman, I want to find out what was your request in the 2022 budget from your office and how much was allocated to your outfit, so we can pick it from there.
The figure I have here that is readily available to me is appropriation for 2022, which is 14,073,000.
14 million.
And 73,000.
73,000.
Yes.
That is for the entire NCC.
Yes.
Hey.
Yes, please.
Put
Put it off. Can you put it off?
Yes.
We are asking to know, normally your outfit will have to make a request to your ministry and for that matter to the Ministry of Finance. Yeah, so if they are not even under any ministry, you still have to make a request to the Ministry of Finance, which will be captured in the budget. And normally when you ask for a certain amount of money, not all is given. So we want to know how much you requested for at your level, that is 2022, and how much was appropriated.
Right.
So we know the difference.
Right. Honorable Chairman, we don't have those figures here because we did not think that this will come up. But what we do have here is what is appropriated for operations, which is the 14,073,000 that I mentioned. Out of that, we have not received any releases yet, as at today.
Chairman, so I think that we need to interrogate the figures that were requested and the figures that were approved. And if this committee can make a recommendation to the Ministry of Finance, if we have that right, so that in the mid-year budget review, something could be done for this very important institution. We all do agree that the role of NCC is very important. But of course, you cannot function if you don't have what it takes to be able to roll out your programs. So we should all be speaking for you. And so I think that in the next mid-year budget review, we should be able to talk for them.
Honorable David,
thank you very much. But Madam, don't you think it's about time that the NCC and the Information Services Department is merged? I mean, if you do not think so, what has been the collaborative effort between these two agencies? I mean, especially at the district assembly level, because I mean, the Information Services Department is there to inform Ghanaians on the happenings in our country. and the NCC, you are there to educate. For me, I see a thin line. So what has been the collaboration between the two agencies?
Honorable Member, don't forget that the NCC is a creation of the Constitution. And what they are supposed to do has clearly been specified in the Constitution. If Ministry of Information decides to give the role that NCC is supposed to play to the ministry, to the Information Service, that's a different issue. But for them, unless the Constitution is amended, they have to continue playing their role as mandated by the Constitution.
Chairman, just a minute. The interesting thing is that even at the district levels, the Ministry of Information is also not well resourced. And so if even they are going to collaborate, they still will not make any impact. We should be pushing for them to have resources allocated to them so that they are able to run their programs.
Chairman, I'm looking at actually their statement, their income statement. And I want to know, for instance, in 2016, the goods and services was 2 million. That was woefully inadequate to run your programs. I just want to know whether there have been improvements. You mentioned, is it 14 million? That is for goods and services or your operations. And what about, are you still being funded by the donors? Because in 2016 you had donor fund of about 6 million. What is the situation what was the situation in 2021, for instance, or the recent past?
All right. Honorable Chairman, thank you very much. Indeed, over the period, we have received increments in our budgetary allocations, not to an extent that is able to resolve our issues, but some sort of increments over the last couple of years. So, for instance, in 2021, out of our approved budget of 4.4, we received 2.9.
4.5 for what?
I'm talking about operations.
Okay.
Goods and services.
Okay.
Goods and services and operations. Out of that, we received 2.9.
And then in 2022, you are asking for 14 million.
Yes. No, we asked for an amount, but what was approved was 14 million.
Okay. All right. Okay.
What we asked for was 41 million.
They give you 14.
41 million, and then we got approved 14 million.
Okay. Let's pray that the 40 million will be released to you.
Yes.
And then, what has been the situation with your donor support?
The donor support, we were running a program with the European Union over the period that brought us some support. But, Honorable Chairman, we must take note of the fact that the European Union support is program support that goes to specific programs that is agreed upon. So what that means is that in the last couple of years, we have been focused on anti-corruption and accountability only for the EU fund that we received. And as you yourself know, our mandate goes way beyond that. Our mandate is much broader than that. There are several other areas where we need a lot of support, but we cannot use the money that we receive from donors for, because donor money is tied to specific things. Besides, I think as a country, for an issue of civic education that is so important to our own development, we must be able to look to our own government to support us to be able to do our work. So the donor funds do come, but they are tied to very specific issues, and we cannot use them for anything else. We cannot use them, for instance, unless so specified, to pay rent for accommodation in the districts. We cannot use it for all other things that are not specified in that particular project. So that's where we are.
Okay, before Honorable Roxon comes in, there's a question of collaboration between you and Information Services Department. Can you tell us how...
My Deputy Chair, Co-Chairman, Mr. Kwamwa, will respond to that.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Our collaboration with the Information Services Department dates back to our inception period. but it has been raised that they themselves are under-resourced. And anytime you approach them, they will ask you to put something in their kitty to either repair an equipment or to transport officers who will support our team in the field. So the collaboration hasn't been any effective. Unless we have joint programs that we are both receiving support, that somehow compels us to do effective collaboration. Otherwise, there is no any effective collaboration.
Chairman, thank you very much. Yes, it's the law is that NCC is a creature of the Constitution, but Parliament gave effect to that by enacting the Act 452. Now, Chairman, in that law, Section 18, which is the expenditures and charges are supposed to be charged onto the consolidated fund. But where I think the NCC is not helping its cause is that they are supposed to submit the annual returns to Parliament, your annual reports. If I can refer to Section 20 of the law. Now, if you were submitting your annual reports to Parliament, and Parliament is interrogating them, then your state of impecuniousness would have been known to Parliament, and something would have been done about it. So I think that it's important that you let us have the annual reports like the law says. Then we can determine, when we interrogate the reports, we'll be able to determine and urge government to allocate more monies, because your expenditure is to be charged onto the consolidated fund. So you have to do that. You have to do that. And your substructures, especially in the regions and the districts, are almost non-existent. That is why attention appears to be focused on ISD. But if you are more robust and more effective, I think even MPs can make a case for you for an improved budgetary allocation. I recall that last year, when COVID struck, 2 years ago when COVID struck, there was agitation on the floor that you should be resourced so that you can and be given vehicles so that you can engage in the public education. I recall the debate. So Chairman,
I recall that debate, and the NCC offices in the district were giving 100 Ghana cedis. That was what was given to them. 100 Ghana cedis. To do what with it? So I'm sure.
100 cedis.
100 Ghana cedis. That's what my district director told me. That for COVID education, he was giving 100 Ghana cedis.
He lied to you, Chairman. How can anybody be giving 100? District director. Anyway, Chairman, he has something.
Honorable Chairman.
Director.
Honorable Chairman, I would like to correct a wrongful impression that has just been put out that we do not submit annual reports to Parliament. We have submitted our annual reports not just regularly but timeously since 2012. Every single year we submit to Parliament and we submit to the Public Accounts Committee that we report to as well. So please, I would like to have that on record. That is actually not the case.
Which committee do you submit the report to?
Public Accounts Committee. No, sorry. The Parliament and the
Special Budget Committee.
Special Budget Committee.
Yes, Special Budget Committee. Public account. We work with the.
No. That was a mistake.
We work with the report of the Auditor General.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Special Budget Committee.
Special Budget
where
Committee.
we report to, as well as Parliament. We submit our reports every year since 2012, please.
It's okay. All right, colleagues, let's move forward. And I think that we need clerk take notes.
Chairman, if I may be, I'm guided. I'm happy that the reports come. So I think as members, we'll look at it and make some recommendations. I thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
so
you very
as I was
much.
saying,
and
clerk.
Also to correct another erroneous impression created that our offices at the district level are wholly inactive. That is actually also not entirely the case. The offices are actually very robust. They do the best they can with what they have under the circumstances. So I want that, not that impression should not be created as well, because they do work really hard. Pardon me?
Madam.
I'm not saying they don't need money.
Madam, you don't want the support of this committee. Well, Clerk, take note. According to the director, the office is robust and they are working well under this. Take note. Let's move forward.
Honorable Chair.
Chairman, she didn't say that.
Honorable Chair, on point of information, Honorable Chair.
He has already
Honorable Chair, on point of information, sir.
He has already indicated.
Honorable Chair, my colleague.
Excuse me, please. Excuse me. You have already indicated the challenges you are having, and you are saying that despite the challenges, you are working with the little that you have. And I think that is what we should report on. He never said that they don't need any support from Parliament. I beg you. And then I want you to confirm whether, because the chairman alleged or said that during the COVID, your district office was giving 100 cedis for COVID education. I cannot believe that one. Can you comment on that one?
Honorable Chair, initially that was true. That was the picture. And that was what drew public sympathy. That was what drew public sympathy to the extent that His Excellency the President himself intervened. And through that, we got about 50 pickups. And then we got the committee that oversaw the COVID fund, the COVID trust fund, also coming in to provide us with 10 vehicles. So that was initially through. And then later, we got another support. I think it was a joint support from the World Bank for Ministry of Information and the Ministry of Health. We got that one too. So initially that was true. But as we move forward, we got some level of improvement from the COVID Trust Fund and the...
So are you suggesting that the 100 cedis per district... Hello, sir.
I'm here, sir.
Are you suggesting that the 100 cedis per district was given to you by the government, or it is your allocation to the district assemblies?
I disallow that question. No. I disallow. Listen,
I think we need
government will not give money to the NCC and say, give 100 Ghana cedis to each district. No. No government will do that. But the resources that come to them, they will decide how to distribute it. So you can't ask that question. I disallowed it. All right, so when my ranking member doesn't even trust me, what I say is true. And challenge me, you want to put me on the spot. It wasn't propaganda. I was told by my district director. All right, let's now start with the management issues. So I come back to you, paragraph 1658. That's management issue. I only came in to deal with the income statement. So paragraph 1658 on page 355.
Thank you very much, Chairman. And this has to do with non-acknowledgement of receipts of funds transferred, which amounts to about 551,960. The examination of your payment vouchers by the audit service discloses that your commission transferred a total amount of about 551,000 from donor and GOG funds to your regional and district offices for operational activities. However, you failed to obtain the supporting official receipts from the recipients to show acknowledgement of the receipts of funds transferred. Why did that happen?
Honorable Chair, thank you very much. Just to point out that these queries are from 2016, and all of them, and I think we are taking them one by one, so let me just say that this query has been responded to and the issue cleared up. The Commission has retrieved all the counterfeit receipts to funds transferred to the regions within the stipulated time, and this has been verified by officers of the Ghana Audit Service. And this has been acknowledged in a letter from the Audit Service where it says, letter dated 14 January 2020, where it says that all receipts received and presented for verification.
Right. So I appreciate the fact that it happened in 2016, but what is it that has changed now? I mean, what mechanisms have you put in place at your agency to ensure that, because the auditors recommended that such receipts should or such confirmations should be received 30 days after such payments. What is it that is happening under your watch?
That has been done. Sorry, Honorable Chair, that those steps have been taken to ensure that this kind of situation does not occur anymore, and indeed has not occurred recently.
Auditors, are you able to confirm that they have submitted to you payment receipts of such payment vouchers?
Honorable Chair, yes, the general counterfeit receipts were verified. Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. And Honorable Kofi Adams, we'll start from paragraph 15, paragraph 1664.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Non-deduction of government rent from NCC staff salaries. That you are aware that persons who occupy state facilities whose appointment does not include being given accommodation are expected to pay a percentage of their salary every month in lieu of the accommodation so provided. But this report suggests that some of your staff, numbering about 6, for a very long time, were not paying for accommodation provided them. There was difficulty in even getting their pay slips, previous year's pay slips, to aid the auditors in their calculation during the audit period. First, I would want to find out why was it so difficult getting pay slips of your staff involved to make it easier for this calculation.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairman. Again, this issue has been resolved. The documentation has been provided, and we have sent to Audit Service and received communication for them to that effect that it has been verified.
Madam, that's not the question I asked you.
Oh, the question about why they could not.
Yes.
To be honest, I have no answer to that question, because to the best of my knowledge, when salaries are paid, there should always be pay slips to go with it. This was in 2016, if I may point out. So the response I have here on paper is the response I'm giving to you. The important thing is that the issue has been cleared up, and these things do not happen currently.
If you don't know why you could not provide the slips, and you said the issue has been cleared, it may happen again, and there are others also watching. So your answers may help the viewers. So if you just tell me the issue has been resolved, the issue has been resolved, maybe others listening to you will not learn from how the issue was resolved.
I mentioned 2016 because all the people who were handling those issues at the time are no longer in the commission. What we have is the records that were kept, and that is what I can speak to. I can also say that it is not the case today that you have a situation where you cannot find pay slips on people's salaries. That will not happen today as we speak. But this is what happened in 2016, and this is the report that we got from them. Thank you.
So it happened in 2016. So as of 2018, were you not there?
Yes, sir.
So how was it resolved?
We got the information that was requested by the audit service, and we submitted it. We also got the full payment that was required was retrieved, and we also worked with the Controller and Accountant General Department to ensure that those deductions are made from the salaries at source before salaries are even received, so that it reflects on the pay slips.
Madam, are you aware that this audit was done in 2018?
Yes.
And you keep mentioning 2016, 2016. Were you not there when this audit was conducted?
Yes.
You say that those things don't happen again. When you were there in 2018, the audit was conducted. Why couldn't you have found the pay slip of these officers?
It's 2016, but the report came
that
back.
I'm saying that the audit was conducted in 2018, and you were there. You said that those things don't happen again. And I'm saying that why couldn't you provide the pay slip of these officers in 2018 when you were asked?
Honorable Chair, if I may come in, the payment system currently and from 2016, it said that each member of staff has confidential code to access the pay slip. And I suspect that was that might be one of the key reasons. But the HR unit of the commission, is always able to deal with staff matters that are confidential, though. But I believe once the officers themselves who have codes to their pay slips, once they are affected, they must be brought into the picture anytime their pay slips must be assessed.
Honorable Kofi, continue.
Thank you, Chairman. Well, like Chairman asked, this audit was done in 2018. You tell us it's been resolved, meaning you laid hands on the pay slips.
Yes, we submitted it.
You submitted it. So where were the slips at the time of the audit? Okay, let me ask the question. At the time of the audit, these staff members mentioned here, were they still in service?
Yes, please.
Yes, they were.
And they were not consulted to help in providing the information that was required? Or management didn't find it necessary to contact them?
Honorable, please, I think during the... sorry. Honorable Chair, please, the issue of staff not responding or forthcoming with their pay slips was not brought to management's attention. I haven't seen this in any of the management letters that was served the commission. Because I have a copy here I can share too.
Well, okay, you will continue. Since the auditors, has the issue been resolved to your satisfaction?
Honorable Chair, yes, they provided the officers with the salary vouchers and then the receipt that NCC issued to the individuals, and it has been resolved. Thank you.
If I may find out, auditors, why did you use 5% for them? I thought it's supposed to be 10%, or was it at that time it was 5%?
Honorable Chair, yes, at that time, the rent normally at times to the board of the institutions comes out with something based on the argument that comes out, especially when it comes to the various districts and other regions. But at that time, it was 5% that was deducted as rent from salaries. Thank you.
No, but you also talk about argument. Is it a law or argument? Anyway, you are not under questioning, so let me leave you out and continue. Mr. Chairman, I'll continue to the next issue if there's no follow-up on this. Thank you. Non-payment of withholding tax. You receive some taxes that you are supposed to pay to GRA within a stipulated time, and you fail to do so. It involves an amount of 1,857.80 Ghana cedi. What has happened to that tax withheld? Have you paid to GRA?
Yes, Honorable Chair, the payment has been made.
And do you pay withheld taxes now regularly, or you wait for auditors to come before you?
Thank you very much. We try and improve the systems all the time, and sometimes one or two may fall between the cracks, but overall, we try and ensure that the payments that we need to make, we make them, and we make them regularly and on time.
So how many one or two has fallen through?
So this 1,857 cedis, for instance, is an example of something that fell through the cracks, but was immediately resolved as soon as it was raised and brought to our attention.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm done.
Thank you very much. Let's move on to paragraph 1678. Honorable Chas.
Thank you, Chair. Paragraph 1678 deals with improper record keeping of donor funds. Are you aware of the regulations and the financial administration regulations on this issue?
Yes, Honorable Chair, we are aware.
How long have you been aware? The question is, how long are you aware of it?
I cannot say when exactly I became aware, but I can say that we are aware.
And so if you are aware, why do you go contrary to what the law says?
Again, as I mentioned, systems are continuously being improved, and wherever we find that we have a shortfall or there's a gap, we take steps to improve that situation. As we speak, separate cash books have been opened for each donor for verification, and we have done what we need to do as far as the Ghana Audit Service is concerned. We have sent them all the information and they have acknowledged.
So, you know, we hear you say, oh, we have resolved the issue, you have resolved the issue. So it means you are not worried about the breaching of the law.
I didn't say that I'm not worried about the breaching of the law. What I did say was that...
This is the implication. Because you keep saying, the last statement you made earlier, what matters is the issue has been resolved. When you use the word what matters is the issue has been resolved.
I don't think I said what matters is.
Do you want us to replay it?
I'm so sorry. Please, if I said that it was improper use of language, please forgive me. What I mean to say is that we are continuously addressing these issues as they come up, and the particular query has been addressed.
So you were initially denying it, and now you are. So then you should be careful of what you are saying, because now you are telling me and my constituents that what you are telling you was a lie. So I stand in front of my constituents and I'm lying to them. That's your implication.
I apologize and I withdraw. Thank you very much.
Okay, so why, Chairman, you want to say?
His Excellency the President announced that wearing of nose mask is no more compulsory. So that is why most of us are not using nose mask. But all of you are in nose mask. We can't identify you well. Can you remove your nose mask? Or you don't trust what the President said?
Oh, not at all.
Okay.
But it's, yes. It's not the case that we do not trust what the President said.
Okay.
But I think that it's no longer mandatory. It doesn't mean that you cannot wear it if you should so choose.
Well, I know. The only thing is that once we trust the President, we can take it off.
Absolutely. We trust the President.
Yeah. So you're interested in dissemination of the funds, but as to how the funds come in, there are no books to it. What happened to it?
Which funds, please?
I mean, the donor funds. You were keeping records of payments, but you didn't have records of the money received. That's what it said in paragraph 1679. You did not keep cash books to record funds received.
Honorable Chair, I think the issue was about keeping separate records for donor funds. I think maybe at the time we were mixing it up with other funds, but as we speak, we have separate cash books. That's what we were required to do. So we do have separate cash books for the donor funds.
Auditor, did you hear what she said? She said the issue was separation of cash book receipts. Was it that issue? Was it the issue?
Honorable Chair, they were really keeping the vouchers for the donor funding, and then, but as to how much was received and how much was left and all that, we told them before they were able to keep a cash book, and brought forward the monies received and all that at that time. Thank you.
Okay, so you are satisfied with their current state? Okay, let's go to 1684. Non-renewal of insurance policies of official vehicles. Madam, I'm sure you're aware of the Motor Vehicle Act and law.
Yes.
You drive a car yourself, right?
Yes, Honorable.
So in 2016, did you renew your insurance?
So in 2016...
Are you referring to her personal car or official NCCE car?
Chairman, yes, I'm referring to her personal car. You drive a car yourself. Do you insure your car? 2016, did you insure your car?
Honorable, in 2016, personally, I was not in the commission, so I cannot respond to that question. If you're asking a personal question, it doesn't apply because I was not in the commission at the time. But I can respond to the insurance issue.
Just hold on.
All
in
right.
2018,
yes,
you're in the commission.
Yes.
Were you driving a car in 2018?
In 2018, I was driving a car, yes.
Did you insure the car?
Were those European cars insured? The EU cars, were they insured? Yes.
I'm talking about your car in 2018.
My private car.
Yes.
My own private
Yes.
car. Yes, it's insured.
So, how come 42 motor vehicles of the commission? It's like you don't care for the safety of the staff members. You are okay insuring your car. But what about the 42 vehicles that the staff use every day? Should something happen to them, who will take care of them? Now you're complaining about not receiving a lot of funds. And no, you're complaining that you don't receive a lot of funds, yet you also don't insure. So if something should happen to our staff members, I put myself there too, so our staff members, who will take care of them? Are you doing third party? Or is it that third party, you cannot even do third party for them?
Whether it's third party or insurance comprehensive, that will not be her decision. It's the decision of the commission. Okay. The auditors did not specify. The auditor didn't specify whether it's third party or comprehensive. It's insurance. They said what? Non-renewal of insurance policies of official vehicles, whether third party, comprehensive. She cannot answer that. Okay. Okay. So let's go on.
Grateful to your intervention, but I want to find out, why did you not renew the insurance policies of those vehicles? And why did you allow staff members to use those vehicles when they were not insured?
Honorable Chair, thank you very much for the question. I think I don't want to belabor the issue, but the budgetary allocation is one thing. But also the other issue, which is even more important and more critical for our work, is the fact that we have a fleet, as at that point, that was so old. We had cars that directors have been driving for over 10 years, from the 2000s. And these cars were cars that were breaking down frequently, expensive to fuel. Most of them should have been actually written off, auctioned off, but because of need, we still have those cars in the system that we are using. So, in fact, insuring those cars was challenging on the budgetary side, as well as the state of the fleet as well. But in recent years, the vehicles that we have managed to acquire recently, from 2018, we have insured all those vehicles.
Chair, it's good that you have insured those vehicles 2018. Is it that these 42 vehicles, have they been added to your fleet or there are no more?
Some of them are still in circulation.
But earlier on, you said one of the main reasons why you couldn't insure the cars were because of budgetary allocation.
Yes.
And you are still complaining that your budgetary allocation is not adequate.
Yes.
So vis-a-vis, you have acquired new cars, and you add on to these cars. It means that you'll be having more than 42 cars, if my estimates are right. And then you are still talking about budgetary not sufficient. yet you managed to insure these cars. So how did you manage?
Honorable Charles, the NCC, as they are here from the headquarters, they are representing the entire country. So talk about the NCC office in every district. Do you understand? If every district you have one pickup, you can calculate the number of vehicles they will have. So 42 plus whatever new 10, 15 will be woefully inadequate. But even this report, I'm not sure it covers all the vehicles of the operations. So,
Grateful Chair, I was drawing on her attention that she said inadequate budgetary allocation. That was the reason why they couldn't ensure the card at that time, one of the constraints. And so I was drawing her attention that now you still have more cards, but you're able to ensure. So that response does not fit in.
I agree with you. I agree with you. She also said that because of the frequent breakdown of the vehicles, I'm not sure the frequent breakdown of the vehicle can prevent you from insuring the vehicles. Madam?
I don't think that when we talk of a budget constraint, I don't know if, because if we...
No, we have left that
Okay,
aspect.
okay.
I'm only drawing your attention that
No,
one of the reasons that you gave
Mhm.
was the frequent breakdown of the vehicle, so insuring them becomes a problem. And I'm saying that frequent breakdown cannot prevent you from insuring your vehicles. Okay?
Of course, but it's maintenance. Okay, well, yes.
Chair,
Okay.
Chair, thank you very much. I made an observation, and you came back to rebut it and said you were robust in the districts. Now, you are creating the impression that as a state, as an institution of state, you have taken a decision not to insure your vehicles. And by so doing, you endanger the life of public servants who use those vehicles. And that is against the law. Insuring our vehicles is a matter of law. It's a requirement in law. That is why when you don't have an insurance, it becomes an offense. And you are prosecuted for it. So when you are making these official responses, it becomes a bother for me. That because of your budgetary situation, you've taken a policy decision not to insure the vehicle. It's the more reason why you should insure the vehicles. And so that impression that you have painted is also wrong. Yet, I don't know what the problem is. So the mic says it's okay. So please don't do that. Whatever your situation is, insure the vehicles so you ensure the safety of your staff who use it and also the safety of road users. It's very important. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable.
Honorable Charles, continue.
1692. Project stores items not recorded. Thank you very much. Looks like you don't want to be recording a lot of things in the commission, yet you are complaining of a lot of, you do not have a lot of funds. Because if some items valued at 38,000 CDs were purchased for various projects were not recorded in the store's ledger, how do you reconcile with the expenditure pattern of the organization?
Could you please repeat the question?
Well, you did not record an expenditure item of 38,000 from the stores. And I'm asking, how do you reconcile if you don't keep proper records?
It was an omission, Honorable. Sorry, an omission, Honorable Chair.
The auditor said the lapse resulted from management's disregard. The word is disregard for proper stores control. So it wasn't an omission. It was just disregard. You just disregarded the requirements of the law. So when he says an omission, I'm sorry to say it means it goes contrary to what the Auditor General is saying, unless you want to say the Auditor General did not see it as an omission. Auditor, can you come in so that they say it's an omission, so are you okay with their current, because you put in a strong word that's a disregard. Management disregarded the procedure in stores ledgers and everything, but they think it's more of an omission, so your word in there.
Honorable Chair, in fact, at that time, because it was in connection with the project management of the receipts of the project, I think basically the records in connection with the project account was a little bit faulty, but now it's improved.
So it was for a project?
Honorable Chair, yes. These are the project store items which were not recorded in the store records.
So were you able to identify whether these were really purchased?
Honorable Chair, yes, it was purchased and used, but the records for you to know issuing receipt and the issuing was a problem. But really, they recorded it later, and then how it was managed to were recorded. Thank you.
Madam Auditor, were you there when they purchased the items?
Honorable Chair, it's the team that went to do the audit.
The team verified the payment voucher, the cash book, the check staff, to know that expenditure to the tune of 30,031 cedis was spent. But there were no record of the items entered into the store's ledger, both receipt and issue. How will the team confirm that truly the items were purchased? How will they confirm that?
Honorable Chair, in fact, after our observations and then the report went, for the 30 days, they went back and confirmed, the records and everything, after they had responded to our report within the 30 days, they went there to confirm, and then for them also came out to report as such.
Did the team provided the list of items that were purchased which were not routed through stores? Did the team provided a list of those items?
Honorable Chair, in fact, the report itself is not available unless I check.
Because if the team provide the list, we can then look at how a follow-up can be done by the team to verify and satisfy themselves that truly the items were used in the name of the commission. Okay? But if this expenditure is some consumable that cannot be verified through verification or a follow-up, it will be difficult for the team to look at only the payment voucher, the checkbook, the cash book, and come to a conclusion that truly the items were purchased. Because after the entries can be done, a check is issued, money is paid to company A, the person go back and take the money from company A, no record is made in the store receipt advice, store issue voucher, nothing is done like that. So you can't conclude that, yes, this check which was paid to the tune of 38,000 was actually used to buy goods that were used in the name of the commission.
Honorable Chair, I think we have to check to see whether we have the details of the things that were bought. But the team that went for verification recently also confirmed that the items had been recorded, and store ledgers said that you must show where the issues are going, whom you are issuing the items to, and what they are to use those items for. So I think we'll go back and check the details of the items that were bought with that money, and then the store ledgers to show the issuing of those items and how it was used. Thank you.
Okay, madam, we are working with your reports. We can go to the field and do that work. So we work with your report. And we are relying on you for us to take decision. So if you confirm and you are convinced to tell this committee that yes, the goods were bought in the name of the commission and used for the commission, we don't have any problem about that. We'll put that in our record. But I'm only telling you how we can come to a conclusion if we are not convinced. Because telling me that goods bought were not recorded in the store receipt advice and then the issue voucher. And if you don't do a follow-up to see that, oh, truly the items were bought, were used, but only that they were not recorded in the vouchers, how do I accept that to be that truly the items were bought? And I've told you, I'm an accountant, and I've told you how people can go behind certain things and work. So that's a practical thing I'm talking about. So we'll continue to ask Honorable Charles to conclude on his questioning.
Thank you, Chair. Auditor, this is to you. This is to you. Did they go through the procurement process in this purchase?
Well, Honorable Chair, please, I have to find out from the team, really, because they didn't, the infractions was not on the procurement aspect. So unless I find it from the team, whether really it went through the procurement process. Thank you.
The Chair, the reason why I'm asking this question, because she's saying the things were bought, the stores and those things. If one of the things you can track is through the procurement process to see whether it went through the appropriate channel, that is why I'm asking such a question. But in any case,
let's just assume that there is nothing wrong with the procurement process.
Yes,
they would have captured it here.
In any case, Chairman, I would, and I.
Thank you very much. Let's move on to the last one, Honorable Roxanne. Paragraph 1698.
Chairman, thank you. Now, NCC, your Bechem office has been flagged for failure to keep proper records in respect of a transaction totaling 3,300. The amount may seem insignificant, but it's the conduct on behalf of the public officer that has been flagged. Is it still the situation now in Bechem?
Honorable Chair, no, please. As a commission, we run an impress system with our districts. So when the auditors were there, all the financial documents were kept at the regional office. We don't have financials at the district offices. They only give them an impress, they operate and retire back to the regional office. That is the system we run.
Okay. Now, the auditors made some recommendation. They requested that the documents be provided. In lieu of that, the director be made to refund the amount of money. Has that situation been complied with?
Yes, please.
That is, the documents have been
yes,
provided.
Please. Yes, please.
Okay. Auditors, can you confirm this?
Honorable Chair, yes, they received the document for us to verify. Thank you.
When was this done?
Honorable Chair, really, during the time that we were to confirm the status of the infractions, that they brought the informations and documents from the regional office for us to verify. Thank you.
Chairman, then I'm worried. Then why are they still in the report? Why did you still maintain them in the report? Okay, the status report now. Okay, all right. Chairman, that'll be all.
Thank you very much. That'll be all for NCC. And is this your first experience here with the committee? Madam, you have been here. What is the chairperson? Has she finally left the NCC?
Please, she has taken her leave from the 1st of April.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. You are discharged. You hear from the committee through the reports that will be issued to the House.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your patience, and we promise to do better next time.
Okay.
Have a nice day.
You too. Thank you. Let's have National Youth Authority. You're welcome. Thank you, Chairman. You're not here when your officers took the oath, so you take it through the process.
I
don't have it.
Where's the one?
I, Mustafa Yusuf,
Swear by the Almighty God
swear by the Almighty God
that the evidence I shall give before this committee
that the evidence I shall give before this committee
touching the matter in issue
shall be the truth,
the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
So help me God. Kindly introduce yourself to the committee.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, my name is Mustafa Yusuf, the Minister for Youth and Sports and a member of this August House.
Thank you, Chairman. Pius Ednam Hajide, Acting Chief Executive Officer, National Youth Authority.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm Harrison K. Sesu, Director of Finance and Administration of Ministry of Youth and Sports.
Thank you, Chairman. My name is Baba Osman Dani, Director of Finance, National Youth Authority.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Anman Mesa, Director of Administration, National Youth Authority.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. My name is Nelson Uswansa, Deputy CEO,
program operations.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. My name is Akosi Aminu, Deputy CEO in charge of Finance and Administration.
All right, Honorable Minister, you are welcome with your team. The National Youth Authority is cited in the report of the Auditor General for public boards, corporation, and other statutory institutions for 2018. So we have invited you to respond to the issues raised in the report of the Auditor General. We'll go straight to the findings of the Auditor General, and I'll call on the ranking member to start from paragraph 1513 of the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Welcome, Minister. And let me congratulate you and the Black Stars for your wonderful performance.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. I'm looking at the income statement and the assets statement for the National Youth Authority in 2016. I noticed that government subvention, that is on the paragraph 1514 of the Auditor General's report, page 327, page 327. You have it?
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay.
Chairman.
I realized that government subvention increased by 76.4% from actually 5.8 million to 10.3 million in 2016. What was the need for this requirement?
The need for this requirement. Chairman, I would like the leadership of the National Youth Authority to respond to the questions. Thank you, with your permission.
Thank you, Chair. The increase was due to the release of CAPEX to National Youth Authority by the Ministry of
Finance. To build what?
For purchase of vehicles.
Vehicles?
Yes, please.
Did you purchase the vehicles?
I did.
When did you do it? Because I realized that at the end of the year, you had about 3.4 million. You described as plus.
The funds were released during the last quarter of the year, and procurement processes started and ended in 2017.
2017.
2017.
2017. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
I want a further clarification. Same table, the income.
let's move on. Paragraph 1522 is talking about, we noted that for 4 semesters, for 9 youth training institutions, feeding grants totaling 1,062,786 cedis has not been released for 4 semesters in 2015. How are the people supposed to feed themselves?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Honorable Chair, the feeding grants for our youth leadership and skills training institutes were indeed in arrears at the time. However, the funds have since been transferred to the as payment for the feeding grants, and evidence has been provided and verified by the audit service.
Who was supposed to give you the funds so that you can transfer? Is it the Ministry of Youth and Sports, or it is supposed to come direct from the Finance Ministry?
Mr. Chair, Ministry of Finance.
Okay, and they were in arrears for 4 quarters. But you didn't really answer my question. See, how are you feeding the people? That was my question. Did you borrow to feed them or what?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we fed them on credit.
Okay. Can the auditors confirm that the amounts have now been released to the institutes?
Honorable Chair, yes. We had evidence to show that the money has been transferred. Thank you.
Is that all for me? Oh.
Okay, let's move on to Honorable Kofi Adams. Paragraph 1529.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Minister, are you very conversant with the Public Financial Management Act 2016, Act 921, especially Section 25(4)?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
So, why was it the case that you purchased 3 Toyota Corolla and 3 Nissan Navara without applying these relevant portions of the Act?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, approval for the purchase of these vehicles was given by the governing board of the authority, and a letter to request for approval has also been sent through the ministry to the Ministry of Finance.
So it was the board that decided to purchase the vehicles without waiting for the approval from the Ministry of Finance and at least allocation of funds for that purpose. Is that what you are telling us?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So this is 2018 audit. What is the status now? Have you, as we speak now, 2022, 4th April, have you received the authorization from the ministry in relation to this particular expenditure?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, we continue to follow up with the Ministry of Finance to receive our response to the request for approval submitted to the Ministry of Finance.
But have you made full payment?
Mr. Chair, yes.
Well, Mr. Chairman, auditors, you did the audit, is your report we are looking at. Their response is that they have written to the Finance Ministry for approval, but that letter is yet to be received. Apart from that, what other issue do you have with? Is there any other issue you think this committee should take note of?
Chairman, the additional information is that the authority used their internally generated fund when they realized that they have some money and there was the need for the authority to also get vehicle. After they decided to sort the approval from the governing board so that they will be able to purchase those said vehicles. But they also sent in a request for approval to the Ministry of Finance, but they did not get it yet. They went ahead and purchased the vehicle using their IGF. I just wanted to bring that to attention of members. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. So the auditors, my earlier question.
Honorable Chair, the fact is that they should have sought a permission from finance because it's on credit basis. At that time that we were there, and that was not done. So we brought the attention of the institution to that. As at now, the approval from the ministry is yet to be received. Thank you.
Well, Honorable Minister and the Chief Executive, you must pursue the approval with all the strength that you have to make sure that you get the approval, especially when the purchase have been done, payments have happened. You need to get the approval because that must not be accepted. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Honorable Minister, let's not create the impression because IGF was used, they don't need approval. IGF is government money. They must budget for it, and once the budget for it is approved by Parliament, they can use it. The auditors raised this issue because they did not budget for it, so they need to seek approval from the Ministry of Finance, which was also not done, was not given, even though, according to them, they have applied for it. Now, let me find out from the auditors. Was the purchase done in accordance with the procurement authority? Do they follow the procurement law in the purchase of these vehicles?
Honorable Chair, yes, because our team would have raised it if there's any infraction in connection with that. Thank you.
So it means that the process was followed, the vehicles were procured. The only issue is that they didn't budget for it, it wasn't approved. Let me hear from the ranking member before I continue.
Yeah, I only want to advise that considering the fact that this procurement took place maybe, I don't know, 10 years ago, it would be good to rewrite your letter of approval to the ministry, because for all you know, nobody knows where your previous letter is. So to satisfy the auditors and everybody, kindly rewrite for approval. Thank you.
What will be the effects of approval given by the Ministry of Finance now?
Ratification.
What would be the effect?
Ratification.
What would be the effect of the ratification? There's no need for it now. There's no need for it now. The record is that the vehicles were bought from IGF without approval. The auditors have noted that the process of procurement was done properly. And so, to go back and spend government money chasing letters, will not make any impact, will not improve on our life. Once it has come to this committee, the committee will determine that it is no money. Okay? There's no money there.
Yeah, I agree. I wanted you to say that. That's why I brought that.
So, clerk, take notes. We don't need to do that. Once we have, there's nothing against the procurement process. It means that everything was done correctly. And so, for the fact that you did not seek approval from the Ministry of Finance or did not budget for it, we only advise that the authorities should not do this again. Anytime you want to use your IGF to procure something, first budget for it, let the budget be approved by the House. Then you are free to use it. If you don't budget for it, it becomes necessary to buy it during the course of the year. Then seek approval from the Ministry of Finance. It means that your IGF, you might have more money in your operations, so you need to spend. So you seek approval from the Ministry of Finance. Who knows, Ministry of Finance, in media review, might ask for additional spending and include your request for approval by the House. Okay? So let's move on to the next one. Honorable Kofi.
Thank you so much, Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman, for this direction. So the next item, paragraph 1535, delays in payment of sponsorship fees. That your Youth Leadership Training Institute at Avenopeme, some districts were found to be owing fees for various students they sponsored for studies in that institute. You are advised to recover the debts from the assemblies involved. I want to find out what has happened to this situation, the 46,055 Ghana cedi involved. Have you been able to recover all?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Our institute at Avanopama in the Volta region has recovered an amount of 29,023 Ghana cedis from the assemblies and the honorable members of parliament who sponsored students to pursue various courses in our training institutes, leaving a balance of 17,032 the name of the Honorable Richard Koshiga, former Member of Parliament for the Keta constituency, because by then he was no longer a Member of Parliament, but we have subsequently written to the Assembly so that the office of the Member of Parliament can be informed, and we continue to pursue the Assembly so that the outstanding can be recovered. Thank you.
The honorable member you mentioned exited Parliament midnight, 6 January 2021. So it can be the case that he was, but even before I get there, if you look at...
Who is the MP you're referring to?
Richard Kwachiga.
Abunapama is in Akachi South.
No, the institute is there. Okay. You say he sponsored.
Okay.
No. Richard Kwachiga was part of the 6th and 7th Parliament. I was a national officer of the party. But my worry is the amount you stated against Honorable Richard Kwachiga, and the audit report doesn't support that case. Let me take you to table 88. Unpaid sponsorship fees, if you have it. Amounts are mentioned against various assemblies. At least Keta constituency have 2,385, and Keta municipal itself has 5,244. So the total for even the constituency and the municipality itself put together is less than 8,000. So assuming that it was the MP who even sponsored what is written against the assembly, what he will be owing or what will be in his name cannot be the 17,000 that you mentioned against his name. Do you have the report? Do you have a copy of the report?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So have you seen the table 88?
I see the table.
So if you look at the table and you add the figures there, yes, it gives you 46,055 Ghana cedi. But item 2 and 3, if you add the 2, you have just about 7,600 and something.
Mr. Chair, you are very right. The narrative is that the assemblies and the MPs sponsor lots of students and they pay in arrears. That delayed, we have written to them. There may have been a little mix-up in apportioning the various amounts. I think that we can look again at what every assembly and every MP owes and has paid, and then we can look at the what the outstanding is. This is the information that the school submitted to us at the headquarters.
So since you have mentioned Honorable Kwashiga's name earlier publicly, it will be appropriate, having been provided the data as we have it here, to use this same medium to maybe correct it, that it doesn't stand in his name. It should come from you yourself.
Honorable Chair, you are absolutely right. We will get back with you, but indeed it cannot be right per the records that an amount of 17,000 is outstanding and stands in the name of the former Member of Parliament for the good people of Keta, Honorable Kwashiga. We are guided, and we apologize for any wrong impressions that may have been created.
See, you have to get the chairman's approval. Chairman, for doing that, I deny you. You will not speak. Put the mic off. Put it off. Put it off.
What?
Let me find out from you who is Nelson also answer.
Chairman,
You're the one. You are the deputy chief executive in charge of operations, right?
Exactly so.
Because you signed this, the letter.
Yes.
You signed it.
Yes, for my chief executive.
For a chief executive, yes. Did you read through all the responses carefully before you signed?
I did, Mr. Chairman.
And you were convinced that 17,032 Ghana cedis was standing in the name of Honorable Richard Kwashiga. You are convinced based on the report of the Auditor General.
Mr. Chairman, as has been said by my chief executive, as at the time we were putting these documents together, we were convinced, based on the information we received from Aveno Peme, that the said amount, 17,000, in the name of Honorable Richard Kwashiga. But having also appeared before you and with the development that is coming, we are being guided that we take a critical look at the figures as presented by the school. And so we're going to do the same.
You know, we have the Akachi South District Assembly involved here. We also have Kata constituency involved. Again, we have Kata Municipal Assembly involved. Then we have Anglo constituency involved. Now, each of these agencies, we have human beings that are in charge. In the case of Kata constituency, it was Honorable Koshigan who was the MP. There was MCE in the charge of Kata Municipal Assembly. There was a DC in charge of Akachi South. Why didn't you mention their names in your write-up, but only Koshigan?
Mr. Chair, I do take a responsibility for the communication that was signed by my deputy on my behalf. Mr. Chair, sometimes the popularity and the influence that individuals carry sometimes can misguide us. And so we will do the necessary.
Because he is very popular, you want to bring him down, right?
No, we want to maybe amplify.
You want to bring him down?
No.
By leveling allegation against him?
No, sir. We have, Mr. Chair, we have taken a serious note of that. We'll work together with Avenopeme and we'll correct. This cannot be right. This definitely cannot be right. We will take the necessary steps to do the necessary corrections.
Honorable Bauer, first, before we come in.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, honorable MPs, when we sponsor all students to undertake training in this, I think we use our common fund. We all know that as at the time that Honorable Kwashiga was leaving Parliament, even our fourth quarter had not been paid. So I would have found it. I mean, I would have wished that the chief executive or whoever is concerned could have contacted the assembly to find out whether this payment could have been made. And at least MPs, we don't administer a fund, like we all know. We don't administer. It's assemblies. We are not even signatories. It's assemblies who administer our funds. And for that matter, I will urge that at least in future dealings, at least as much as possible, the assemblies concerned are contacted to ensure that at least the proper thing is done, instead of at least bringing the names of MPs who are trying to build the capacities of their constituents into public ridicule. Please, next time we should be guided by that.
Chair, we thank you very much. And we even are most grateful for members of parliament who sponsor many of these students to our institutes. They are our partners. They have been of invaluable support to us. We take the blame for the style. Maybe even names should not have been mentioned, but offices. We will do the necessary corrections. Mr. Chair, we are guided. We thank you for your kind understanding.
Okay, Chairman, thank you. Chairman, I think it's important we use this platform to offer some education. Like my brother said, this common fund appears to, bring MP's name into disrepute. We only make recommendations. The funds administered by the assembly, in some assemblies, the DC, the coordinator, the DFO, they are the signatories. MPs have no access. So when an application comes before the MP and he recommends that please spend X amount on this, that's all that the MP is capable of doing. In fact, in some cases, some DCs or DFOs or coordinators, they decline the request. And there's nothing the MP can do. So the prioritization lies entirely with the assembly. In the same way, we are members of the assembly, but we don't have voting rights. So indeed, if the former member of parliament hears his name in this manner, it's embarrassing. And so as public servants, let's endeavor to interrogate of these things before we put pen on paper. It's very, very important. Chairman, thank you.
Chairman, I just wanted to observe that if you look at table 88, which talks about this matter, you realize that the Keita constituency has only an amount of 2,385 cedis. And the Keita Municipal Assembly, 5,244. If you put the two together, it's about 7,600. So there's no way, even if Kwasigan is responsible for the two of them, the amount is only 7,000. I don't see how anybody who could have come up with 17,000 against Kwasigan. It's unfair. There's no basis for that. So please, next time, be very careful. Thank you.
Honorable Sampson, do you still have your point? You have answered. Okay, thank you very much. You said you have answered.
You see, the same way you said, I authorized, and then moreover, at the time Kushiga left office, the last quarter came. He's not a spending officer, the DCL coordinating director. Some of us, your minister is here, he will tell you, it is very difficult for him to even authorize even bank statement. The MP cannot even just ask for a bank statement. They won't give you. When you ask for your balance, nobody will give you. So when you write and authorize, and the money is my account, and I'm no more there, why don't you just release 2,000 and pay this? And the last quarter of the MP's listen for the term, the election year, comes after you have left or you are in parliament. So the issue is as to why this thing that you did. At least you need to apologize again because people have not heard you. You need to apologize very well because for the whole world to hear that it is a DCE, the disassemble that failed to pay the money, and that should be blamed, but not encouraged.
You know, colleagues, me myself personally, I've been a victim of all this. So this thing doesn't bother me again. I'm immune to this. When you go to Katunov, my house, they say I built it from a common fund. If I buy a car, they said it's a common fund. I don't know how powerful I am that I can use government money, nobody will not touch me. But that is the message out there. And I'm sure it affects all of us here. The propaganda, the lies about the members of parliament. I don't know why, because we are voted for, we become the endangered species. Everybody pour anything on us. It's not fair. It's not fair. Kofi, continue.
And, well, auditors, have you checked whether the payment so reported is the case?
Honorable Chair, yes, receipts for the recovered amount was verified. So the outstanding is the 1702. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My last point is that sometimes when such audit reports get released, management should follow up quickly because this is 2018. If you had followed up and engaged with the MP, then he was still the MP during that period. 2019 he was, 2020 he was. He would have really helped you, but you wait till he leaves office, do guesswork, and it tends to go against them unnecessarily. Mr. Chairman, I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move on to Honorable Bauer, paragraph 1541.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the Chief Executive, you procured some 300 pieces of laptops, and then at the cost of 610,389 Ghana cedis to organize the Youth Technology and Entrepreneurial Program. However, the observation of the auditors were that you kept, the laptops were not kept properly, and they were kept in the warehouse that gets partly flooded. And some of the pallets on which the laptops were sitting were broken. In effect, there was no proper storage for the 300 laptops. And this is contrary to Regulation 2H of the FAR 204, which says that the head of department shall preserve in good order and secure economical use of all equipment and stores used by the department. Why so? Why did you, store the items in in a warehouse that could get, these laptops damaged?
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, in 2016, indeed, the National Youth Authority procured 300 pieces of Lenovo laptops, and the auditors noted that they were not stored under proper conditions. The laptops were stored in the warehouses of a sister agency, the Youth Employment Agency. Conditions were not appropriate. The authority has since moved the laptops to a refurbished storage facility within the precincts of the authority, and auditors have verified the presence of the laptops and under very good conditions now.
So, Mr. Chief Executive, may I know what the 300 laptops, are they all functional now? No defects?
At the last time the IT department checked, there were no defects, to the best of my knowledge.
Auditors, can you confirm?
Honorable Chair, yes, the laptops, as at the time we verified them, there had not been any defects, but now they are all assembled at the main institution stores. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, my next deals with...
Honorable, let me ask one question about this. So those laptops are still with the authority?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
What were or are the purpose of procuring those laptops?
For training young people in digital skills.
So is the training not ongoing, or we haven't started?
Mr. Chair, the training is intermittent, and the idea is that we can use one laptop to train a certain number of youth before we maybe give it out, so that every time that we train a new cohort, we don't buy a new set of laptops.
So you are using the laptops? You are using them?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Okay. Chairman, can I continue? Mr. Chairman, the next infraction is just similar to the earlier one, because this one too, they procure some vocational equipment and technical equipment and tools valued at 2,374,497.27 Ghana cedis for various youth leadership training in the country. These equipment were delivered to the authority, to the National Youth Authority in November 2016. However, out of the 7 institutions that these equipment were distributed to, only 2 had very good storage facilities. The rest of the 5 had no storage facilities, thus exposing the equipment to defects and also to the hazardous conditions, and also, in fact, just putting the equipment, let's put it that at least exposing it to the vagaries of the weather. So, how come? Why so, Mr. Chief Executive? Why do you spend this huge sums of money, buy equipment, and then you just put them at where you cannot, I mean, ensure their efficacy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, indeed, in 2016, the tools and equipments that the honorable member spoke about were procured, but the auditors observed that they were not properly kept. These were for our institutes. The authority has since then refurbished warehouses in all our 11 institutes, and tools and equipments have been distributed, and they are now in proper storage, and the auditors have verified same.
Like if you look at it, like in Asaman Keshti, there were leakages in the classrooms, dilapidated hostels, classrooms used as workshop, and then in Aveno Peme, the principal's office was even used as a temporary storeroom. So, Mr. Minister, what steps have you taken to ensure that these training institutions now have very, conducive infrastructure for the training of our youth?
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, most of the training institutes are now being renovated, and also per the new law that established the TVET Commission. The TVET Commission is supposed to now take over most of these institutes to revamp them to meet the standards that are required. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, that will be all for me.
If I understand you carefully, these computers and training equipment were acquired for training of the youth, and it beats my mind why we will hurry to acquire these equipment when we don't even have the workshops and the storage facilities for them. And I just want to be sure now that whether these equipments are now being used for training, because I don't understand. Do we build workshops before we buy equipment, or equipment before we build the workshops when we don't have stores? I hope that they are now being used for the purpose, and they are not just sitting in the stores. Minister, or you can take it if you have the answer.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I can confirm that yes, these equipments are now being used for their intended purposes. We did have some space for storage that were considered not to be in the best shape or forms, and so we have since rehabilitated those spaces.
Thank you.
And Chairman, to add, the purpose also was in terms of the training centers. You know, the Accra Digital Center was the training centers where the youth in digital marketing exercise was carried out. So there are centers where the youth are being trained on. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Let's move on to the next one, which is paragraph 1556. Failure to hand over accounting records. There is one Adelaide Bomo Okreku, who is the accounting officer at Afranse Youth Leadership Skills Training Institute. She went on leave and later resigned without handing over the accounting records with her. Now, the auditors are saying that these are normally could be attributed to the management laxity in supervising the works of the officers. Now, the auditors
are saying that they could not determine the genuineness of available financial records or transactions at the institutes. Management is advised to ensure proper handing over by the former accounts officer. Now, management stated that they have taken notice of the recommendation and will ensure that proper handing over is done. Has the former accounts officer, Adelaide Bomo Okreku, has she handed over officially to the next accountant or her successor, as indicated in the report?
Thank you, Chair. At the time of the audit, Madam Bomo had not properly handed over. She had left the institute without handing over. She had resigned. But she was called, she came back and handed over properly, and the auditors verified it. The handing over documents are now properly filed.
And is this known to the auditors?
Yes, Chair.
Auditors, can you confirm this?
Honorable Chair, yes, we verified the handing over notes.
Well, the next infraction is about vehicle involving a Toyota Fortuner, registration number GV 93-14, without police report. But this vehicle was involved in an accident on the 6th of December 2016 in Tamale. And the driver did not report the matter to the police. It is also alleged that a relative of the CEO was the one who drove the vehicle before it was involved in the accident. Again, the auditors have attributed this to lack of management's commitments to pursue the matter. Now, the absence of police report makes it difficult for the team to determine whether there is any cause of action, and then also know the cause of the accident for appropriate action to be taken. Recommendation. Management should obtain the police reports to enable the authority to claim compensation from the insurers without further delay. Can you tell us, Mr. Minister, the outcome of this recommendation?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, management has taken note of the auditor's instructions, and we have written to the officer using the vehicle at the time in 2016 to explain the circumstances within which the accident occurred, and also to the police for an extract from the police. We continue to pursue that as well.
Why is the vehicle now?
Mr. Chair, the vehicle has since been auctioned.
Auctioned as an accident vehicle, or it was repaired later auctioned?
It was repaired. It was repaired, used for some time, and disposed of as unserviceable vehicle.
When was it disposed of? When?
2020, Mr. Chair.
2020. When was it repaired?
After the 2016 accident.
When was it repaired after the accident? And do you know how much it was auctioned?
Mr. Chair, I don't know.
But you know that it was auctioned?
I don't have it on top of my head. I can find the figure. I was not there at the time.
I think you have a record that shows who the vehicle was auctioned to. So the figure is there.
Yes, Mr. Chair. 10,298 Ghana cedis. It's a
auction to it will be there. Read it.
Mr. Chair, it's not here. It is a Toyota Fortuner 4x4.
Yeah, the name of the vehicle, the make, everything is there.
The chassis number is here.
Everything. So the person it was auctioned to will also be there.
Not on this one.
Can I have that document?
Mr. Chair, you can have.
Give me that. Let me see. Well, this information is only the motor insurance report, the motor engineers report by STC. So this is what we use to auction. Okay? And then the 10,298 would definitely be the value at which you should not auction below. You could be more than this. But you don't know.
Mr. Chair, like I said, no, I can get the figure.
Did you go through the process to auction it?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Tell me, walk me through the process that you went through to auction the vehicle.
Mr. Chair, I yield to my Director of Finance to walk us through the process.
Yes, just walk me through the process.
Thank you, Chair. A board of survey was formed. List, identify the unserviceable item, identify the item, the assets in question, sought board approval, and then called in a valuer, that is STC. When it was done and approved by the board, a letter was written to a Chief of Staff Office. An approval letter came from Chief of Staff Office. The approval letter is here for verification.
Is that what the procurement law says? Disposal of unserviceable vehicles. Is that what the law says, that you should seek approval from Chief of Staff?
When the preliminary...
No, my question is that what the law says?
Not entirely, but that is a practice.
I'll get to the practice. Is that what the law says?
That is my understanding of the law, Chair.
The law says that you should write to the Chief of Staff for approval to dispose of unserviceable vehicles of government. Is that what you're telling the committee?
That is the case. That is my understanding, Chair.
All right. Don't forget that you are speaking on an oath. Okay? The law doesn't say that you should seek approval from office of the Chief of Staff. The law didn't say that. So if that is a practice as you talk about, it's a wrong practice. It's very wrong. Go back and take your procurement law and read it. And see whether the law says that you should seek approval from the office of the Chief of Staff. It is wrong. You have been using this one to compensate party faithfuls. Food soldiers. That's what happened. Doctor, please. Anyway, if in last parliament, we even wrote as a recommendation, if you remember, for a body to be established solely for that. We did that. But they won't go in because separate different interests.
Mr. Chair, we are guided.
Let me make a comment on that one. Yes, I agree with Chairman that it is not in the law. And we've also noticed from many institutions that the disposal of items has actually been abused. We've seen situations where for 1,000 cedis, 2,000 cedis by some institutions. And that is why we recommended, I think, about in the last parliament, that there should be a separate institution created for the disposal of government assets. Because we realize that it is one leaking area where chief executives and boards and things, and even employees take advantage and use cars for 2 years, find some reason to say that it is unserviceable, and they sell it for 2,000, 5,000, 4,000. It has been going on for years, and I think that it's about time we stop it. And it is also true that if you go through the procurement law, it doesn't require approval from the chief of staff. But it has been going on for so many years, and I think that we should find a way of stopping it so that the revenue leakage that is happening there is fixed up. Thank you.
Well, let me continue. So now that the vehicle has been auctioned, well, you can come back for this. Now that the vehicle has been auctioned, it means that this recommendation of reporting to the police for insurance has been overtaken by events. There will not be any need for that again. You will not have any evidence at all to show that the vehicle was involved in an accident. So this is something that is lost to us as a country. But is the driver still in the employment? The driver involved in this?
Mr. Chair, the report of the audit suggests that the driver was not a staff and that the car was in the custody of the then Chief Executive Officer. And that is why we have asked the Chief Executive Officer to explain the circumstances under which the accident occurred. For the records, the vehicle was in his custody and it was logged against his name. So we assume that he was the one with custody of the vehicle.
No, I'm referring to the authority's driver, because paragraph 1563 says that contrary to the above quoted regulation, the driver of the authority's Toyota Fortuner with registration number GV9314 failed to report to the police. So I assume that this person is in the employment of the authority. No. So he's the one I'm referring to if he's still with the authority.
No. Mr. Chair, if you continue, it said that it is alleged that at the time of the accident, the vehicle was being driven by a relative of the former CEO. That is the allegation that we would appreciate the former CEO to give us the circumstances surrounding. The driver was not a staff of the authority. The vehicle was in the of the former CEO.
Was that vehicle not allocated to a specific driver of the authority, and how that driver should release the vehicle to the alleged relative of the CEO? That is the point I want to establish. Unless that vehicle was not allocated to any specific driver.
No, Mr. Chair. The vehicles are allocated to the offices, the Chief Executive Office, and then the Chief Executive has a pool of drivers, if he so chooses, to drive him at a particular point in time.
How did you get all this information?
Mr. Chair, I have been CEO at the authority for...
No, at the time of this, you were not there.
So
how did you get all this information?
No, the practice of how we allocate
So
vehicles.
you knew all this, but you don't know the circumstances under which a different person was driving the vehicle. That portion you want the former CEO to explain. All this. Oh, he said it. He said that they have written to the former CEO to explain the circumstances. Yet you know all information except that one. Why?
No, Mr. Chair, the accident allegedly, the accident occurred in Tamale when the CEO had custody of the vehicle. As to who was driving the vehicle there, we in Accra from HQ are unable to, so it is only the CEO who can explain to us who the relative who was alleged to have been riding the vehicle is. We don't want to guess, so we want him to write to us to explain the circumstances.
Why? They are saying my questions are conflict of interest. Is it because Honorable Pius contested me and lost miserable to me? Honorable. Oh yeah, he contested me in 2012. So I'm his senior and an uncle as well.
Now understand some line of questioning. I mean, yes. So
Next time I will choose my battles wisely.
Chairman, let me ask you a question.
But the battle still remains the loss.
Sir, I was curious, going through this report, and then the auditor said we needed to have a police report. I was curious that you said you've taken notice and that you go and get a police report. This accident happened when? What year did it happen?
2016, sir.
And if 2016, up to 2020 that the car was auctioned, how come no action was taken? For 4 years.
Mr. Chair, the facts are that we already instructed our regional offices in the northern region to obtain an extract from the police. I am also advised that a report had been submitted, but there are some filing challenges, and we are unable to trace that report. And so we are only taking remedial steps to get all these things back on record.
You see, saying that we have filing challenges, it's all over your report from the auditor. Lack of management supervision, failure to hand over accounting records. It looks like record keeping was a problem. And this is at what they call National Youth Authority. My goodness. You couldn't train anybody on file management?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, we do agree with you, and we have taken serious efforts. For instance, now we have an arrangement with the PRAD for filing and archiving, for instance, and we have done some training for our records department with regards to filing and bookkeeping.
All right, let's go to the next one, paragraph 1568, ranking.
Yeah. My brother, the infraction is that you have, in 2014, you had 14 vehicles that have no insurance. And it's an infraction, breaking the law. Every vehicle should be insured and the insurance renewed regularly as required. So, what did you have to say to that? What do you have to say to that?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Indeed, in 2014, those vehicles were not insured, but now we have insured all of our vehicles in compliance with the law. And this has been verified by the auditors.
Auditors, can you confirm that their vehicles are now fully insured?
Yes, insurance documents were verified.
So we don't expect to see this infraction from 2017 upwards when you have been in charge. Is that right? I'm talking to the Chief Executive.
Mr. Chair, yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. That'll be all, Chairman. Here, the infraction is that you don't have personal files for your employees. Therefore, if we need any information on your employees, it will be difficult. And in paragraph 1517, the auditors noted, our review of the personal files of the staff revealed that 9 officers who were employed on December 2014 have the following omissions on their personal file. 2 officers did not have their academic certificates. 1 officer did not have his CV. 8 officers did not have their national service certificates. 5 officers did not have their medical certificates on file. We attribute this anomaly to management laxity in ensuring that newly employed officers are having the required documents on their file. We therefore were unable to identify officers without the requisite qualifications to ensure efficient productivity. We recommend that management should ensure that all necessary documents have been obtained from officers involved and filed properly. Have this recommendation been carried out?
Yes, Mr. Chair, this recommendation has been carried out at the time of the audit, and by 2016, those officers did not have those informations on their files. Those information have now been duly obtained, and their files have been updated accordingly, and the audit service has verified same.
But why did it happen? Why did that anomaly occur in the first place?
Mr. Chair, please, I may attribute it to our filing challenges.
Did you have a human resource officer at that time? And
yes.
She was not working. You were not doing any work?
She was. She explained that the documents were collected but could not be traced. So maybe filing challenges, which we have since corrected.
I'm surprised. Anyway, so now you have proper files on those officers, proper records on those officers. You now have them.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. And
auditors, can you confirm whether these serious infractions have been rectified?
Honorable Chair, yes, the personal files are now been filed with the documents that are required. Thank you.
Okay. Ranking, we'll move now to the Vice Chairman, paragraph 1584.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Now, 1584, we are talking about improper record keeping at the stores. And just let me read you what it says at 1586. Now, those non-political appointees from NYA, how many of you were there during the time of the audit?
One, Mr. Chair. One. Yes, Mr. Chair.
So let me read you about National Youth Authority. We noted during an audit that record-keeping procedures at the stores of the authority did not follow their acceptable standards. The store ledgers were not well maintained. Stores issues were not recorded, leading to long-standing balances of items such as doors, photocopiers, digital cameras, etc. in the store's books. We also noted many cancellations, which made it difficult for us to authenticate the store's records. Why?
Yeah. Honorable Chair, at the time, the stores officer had gone on retirement, and there was a national service person who him, and as at the time of the audit, he was the one that was handling the stores. Eventually, when he was appointed, he has been trained, and then he's now in charge of the stores.
Sir, I don't buy this saying that the national service person was there. You cannot just delegate neglect your responsibility. Just put it on a national service person. So national service person is there. So whether this person is doing the right thing or the wrong thing, didn't we have managers at NYA? Didn't we?
We did.
Oh. The lapses resulted from management's poor supervision, coupled with the storekeeper's lack of basic knowledge in the store's keeping principles. This is what it's saying. This is government's money. Every time the government is coming for more money, you get the money and look at what you use it for. That is why so many of us are against the government coming for money, because we don't know what you guys use the money for. Look at how we are wasting it. Now, non-maintenance of unserviceable ledger. Is that one also due to national service people?
Mr. Chair, at the time of the audit and by 2016, we did have some human resource challenges. Subsequently, we have trained and retrained our personnel, and we are now keeping a ledger for non-serviceable items, and that ledger has been verified by the auditors.
Auditors, could you confirm if there's been an improvement?
Honorable Chair, yes, the stores are now being kept well, and they have also the unserviceable ledger. Thank you.
So, stores should not be handled by inexperienced people. national service people should be working under. People to learn from them. They should not be put in charge. This is a very sensitive place. The stores. A lot of resources are there. So we recommend that national service people should be support staff to learn from the men or the permanent staff, but not they should be given this responsibility. I'm sure it is not the same now, but if it is, we will recommend that you change and give them let them work under other people. Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. It is not the case now.
All right, so that is all for the National Youth Authority. We want to thank you and the Honorable Minister for coming. And you hear from the committee through the reports that will be recommending to the House. We thank you for coming. You are discharged.
Thank you so much, Chairman.
Now let's have Cocoa Board.
Listen.
I,
Emmanuel Ajimandimo,
swear by the Almighty God.
Swear by the Almighty God.
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
Touching the matter in issue.
Touching the matter in issue.
Shall be the truth.
Shall be the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole truth.
And nothing but the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
The Honorable CEO, Honorable Edu, you're welcome.
Thank you, Chairman. Honorable Chairman.
Thank you. Kindly introduce your team. Every member should introduce themselves so that we'll go straight to the issues.
Julius Martinson, MD, QCC.
QCC is Quality
Control Company Limited.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair. My name is Vincent Akumia, MD, Cocoa Marketing Company Limited. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair. My name is Charles Asamoah Frimpong. I'm the Director of Audit.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair. My name is Emmanuel Ajimanjumo, Deputy Chief Executive in charge of Agronomy and Quality Control.
Joseph Boahenedu, Chief Executive, Ghana Cocoa Board.
Ray Ankra, Deputy Chief Executive, Finance and Administration.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair. My name is Peter Osamwakon, Director of Finance, Cocoa Board.
Thank you very much for coming. We'll go straight to the issues raised in the report of the Auditor General for 2018 audit. And to start with is the Vice Chairman of the Committee from paragraph 1980, which deals with your financial statement and financial position.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Let's look at the operational results. The audit says that the board recorded a loss of 395 million cedis in 2017 as compared to a loss of 199 in 2016. Why the loss?
Honorable Chair, I defer to my FNA to take that one.
Okay, that's fine. FNA, you make loss in 2016 and then 2017. But the 2017 one, the percentage has increased. The Vice Chairman want to know why the loss.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Yes, it is true that the loss did increase. But if you decompose the figures and you start breaking it down, it is actually not a bad performance at all. And there are only two key reasons why the loss arose. So, Honorable Chairman, the first point I want to make is that we actually recorded a positive increase in gross profit margin. Because if you're looking at your P&L account, you start from your turnover, your cost of sales, and then your gross margin. That's the first thing that you need to focus on. And then from that point on, you come down to the overheads. The loss that we made is the bottom line, but I just want to walk honorable members through the journey to that destination. So the gross profit margin, which is the profit that you make on every CD sale that you make, actually increased from 2016 to 2017. That undoubtedly is a positive thing. There are two major reasons why the loss arose. Reason number one, if you look at the administrative, if you break it down, we recorded a big increase in exchange loss Now, exchange loss is something which is entirely beyond the control of Ghana Cocoa Board. If you look at 2016, the year before, we actually recorded an exchange gain of 63 million. Now, this exchange gain turned into a loss of 279,488 million. So if you really want to look at the transition, the movement from the loss in 2016 to the to 279, you actually recorded a negative or a big increase of 342 million. Now, if you take out the exchange loss of 342 from the loss of 399, you're really on your way down. I mean, you're really doing very well. The second reason, so that's the first reason, the rate at which, you know, when we do the syndication comes in at a particular rate, which is given to us by Bank of Ghana. We don't have any control over that. Then at the time of paying off the syndication, typically the money comes in around October for the commencement of the cocoa buying season, and then we'll start paying off from about February, March, up until September for the next season to start. Now, between when the loan is taken and when the loan is actually paid, if there is a depreciation in the currency, you know, there's nothing Cocoa Board can do about it. And in accounting terms, according to, I think, International Accounting Standard 20, foreign currency translation, it ought to be recognized as a loss in our books. And that's exactly what we did. And that gave us 340 million loss. The second reason why, you know, this loss also occurred, if you decompose the administrative costs, you look at the finance cost, sorry. If you look at the finance cost, that's also another problem, because we had some cocoa bills, the interest that we pay on the cocoa bills increased. These were the times where interest rates were quite high, and, you know, we had to roll over some of these bills. And so the cost of rolling over the bills, if you look at the finance costs, and I've just, Honorable Chairman, just give me a second, please, so that I can read out in absolute terms what the finance cost is. And so, Honorable Chair, if you look at the finance costs, interest on BOG loan, cocoa bills, as we've always done, is the short-term instruments by which we raise funding from the banks. Now, I'm trying to. Okay. So, Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Rick, continue.
Okay, thank you, sir. The cocoa bills interest also went up by 63.79, which is the financing cost. So, if you add that to the exchange difference, you could actually turn the operations for 16-17 into a profit.
Sir, let's look at the table at table 129. You see that your total income increased by 13%, but your total expenditure increased by 14.7%. Now, if you look at your operating expenses, it went up 35.3%. Why that high on operating expenses?
Mr. Chairman, the operating expenses you have the distribution expenses and the administrative costs. The administrative costs went up, yes, there's no doubt about it, but if you look at the breakdown of the administrative costs, all the details are there. In fact, there we actually recorded some positives. I mean, auditors' remuneration, for example, went down, depreciation went up by just 6%, directors' remuneration went down. Of course, the impairment loss...
Sir, just a minute, please.
Yes.
Let's look at paragraph 1984. Do you have a copy of our book? 1984. It says the increase in the operating expenses could be attributed to increases in staff costs and depreciation charge for the year.
Yes, sir. The staff costs, if you really look at the staff costs, the increase in staff costs was only 7.30%. 7.30%. We keep these costs very under tight control. The biggest thing, as I've said, is the exchange difference, which is where the problem is. But staff costs only went up by 7.3%. So really, the operating costs that you are quite rightly concerned about went up because in the main, and I'm not saying other factors are not responsible, but in the main, it is to do with a factor which is completely beyond our control, and that is to talk about exchange differences.
Okay, let's talk about your liquidity ratio. It went from...
Let me ask for a little clarification. I noticed that your finance cost also went up by 29%. I just want to know whether the exchange loss is part of the finance cost or is it part of the operating cost?
Yeah, I mean, the exchange differences is part of the operating cost. The finance cost is an item which is on its own.
Mr. Ray, the exchange loss as a result of the depreciation of the city is completely out of your control. So it tells you that the exchange loss in the year 2017 was higher than the previous year. Because when you are doing your planning, you definitely you factor in the exchange loss. I don't know whether you factor in exchange gain. As an accountant, do you factor in exchange gain? Looking at our economy, do you factor in exchange gain? I'm not sure you do, but you definitely factor in exchange loss. But the rate that you may use at the end, if the actual is more than the rate you use, you result in more than the loss that you anticipate in a year. So we'll have to put the blame on the managers of the economy who made the city to depreciate deeper than you thought. 2017. Okay? No, 2016 here is not used as a base. Okay? And they definitely use what happened in 2016 to plan for 2017. And 2017 happened to be higher than the 2016. So what they did not anticipate as a loss is what they have gotten. So we have to put not you, we'll not put the blame on you at all. The managers of the economy are to be blamed. Oh, why? I am an accountant. I am analyzing the report. No, the report as is here. We are not blaming anybody. I said the managers of the company. If you are the manager, then you can own them. Are you the manager?
Okay, if let's continue, please. On paragraph on table 130, you see your liquidity ratio in 2016 was 1.99, and then 2017 it was 1.05. And the concern is this clearly showed that the board might not be able to meet its short-term obligations as and when they fall due. This significant deterioration in the liquidity position of the board is mainly due to borrowing of unsecured cocoa bills from Bank of Ghana and increase in the distribution of the 3-year medium-term facility. The board's liquidity position has been deteriorated over the period and could pose operational challenge if serious measures are not put in place. What is the situation now?
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, I'm very glad to report that the medium-term facility has long been paid. In fact, in the year 2016-17, if you look at the crop yield, we were higher than the previous year. The issue of the cocoa bills is being addressed. I mean, these ratios are computed at a particular point in time. These liquidity ratios and measures of performance are computed at a particular point in time. You're right, the issue of the cocoa bills is something that is exercising our minds, and we are trying to figure out a way to make sure that we can get it under control. And under control, we will get it under. But steps are being taken. That is all I can say. But as we speak now, the medium term, through the prudent management of our financial resources, the 3-year loan is paid off, and it's long time it's gone. It's disappeared from our books. The issue of the cocoa bills is also being looked at so that we can bring it under control.
Can the auditors verify if the financial performance of cocoa has improved now?
Honorable Chair, in fact, their financials are not here for me to vividly talk about that, please. I will find out and let the committee get the full situation of their account. Thank you.
Okay, so let's move on to paragraph 1989. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Auditor, you knew they were coming today, and you were not prepared for such information, because certainly an expectation is that once you knew they were coming today, all these informations would have been made available. But your response is that you are yet to do what you are supposedly expected to have done.
Honorable Chair, we are talking about the subsequent financial statement or the subsequent situations in terms of their financial operations. And that is what we don't have it here right now. I understand that we should have brought it, but for now we don't have it. So I'm pleading that we'll make it available. Thank you.
Honorable Kofi Adams should take paragraph 1989 to 2002.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Chairman, paragraph 189. Receivables. The auditors observe.
It's 1989, not 189.
Yeah, 1989. 1989. Yeah. Overdue receivables. The auditor observe 5 organizations owed cocoa board for being supplied to them, and they've recommended you initiate the appropriate steps to get payment. I want to know what has happened to this finding.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, steps have been taken to have these debts paid. The board has approved the position for cocoa processing company. There is its receivables of 56.1 million to be turned into equity. That's the position of that is in respect of CPC, Cocoa Processing Company. In fact, at the time the audit was done, the CPC debt had arisen from the supply of cocoa beans to the factory. When you take all the 5 companies together, you know, they registered the same issue. And this was around 2013, 2014, 2015. Because of the weather condition at that time, production of cocoa was low. And because of that, meeting international obligations was difficult. And so the local companies suffered. They were not given enough beans to process. I don't want to remind anybody of the tragedy that happened on the Takoradi-Accra Road when some workers of WAMCO tried coming to Parliament to present a petition for intervention to let them get beans to process. It's all about cocoa beans at that time, which was difficult to get for these local companies. And because of that, these 5 local companies went into financial challenges. And when we came, that is when this administration came, we have to sit down and restructure the repayment process, provide them with beans, and then restructure. In the case of CPC, the final position that we've taken is that it's going to be difficult for CPC to pay all the 56.19 million. And noting that CPC is a strategic, you know, factory for the whole nation, we think we have to then convert the 56.1 million to equity to enable CPC continue to operate. In the case of Afrotropic cocoa processing, we've been able to recover the entire amount. Now, regards WAMCO, WAMCO has paid part of the debt because now we have a new payment agreement with WAMCO. So we've been able to recover part of the amount. But then the remaining amount is in dispute because, again, at the time when WAMCO was finding it difficult to get beans, the majority shareholder, that's the German shareholder, is claiming that they did not actually get those beans. So there's a dispute over that amount, and it's still not resolved. It went to the courts. I think it's traveled through a number of courts, and the matter is still not resolved regarding the outstanding amount. Then we have Plot. Plot also suffered the same fate and has been making some payments. We still have some amount to, you know, collect from Plot. So that's the situation on this. So in all, you notice that yes, Rare Products also owed 2.2 million United States dollars, and the collection of this amount has been difficult because now the company is defunct, but then Prudential Bank is you know, the guarantor. So Cocoa Board is dealing with Prudential Bank to retrieve this amount. So these are the actions that have been taken. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. On the last issue that you raised, your response here suggests that you won, CMC won a case against Real Product, but at the time of going for execution, Prudential Bank has already, is it a case that they owe Prudential Bank also on something else for which reason they have gone into execution to offset their debt, or they went into that execution to be able to pay Cocoa Board?
In fact, both of us went to the court, but Prudential Bank went to court first. And so the court has given Prudential Bank the first option, you know, that is when the assets of that is Real Product are disposed, then Prudential Bank will be the first to, you know, take its share. Then Cocoa Board can go into, you know, make due the remaining amount.
But if Prudential Bank are their guarantors, will you consider taking on Prudential Bank for settlement of the outstanding? Maybe I'm not getting your point clear, because you mentioned them as being the guarantors. That's why I'm asking.
No. No, Prudential is not. Maybe I missed the whole thing now. Prudential is not the guarantor.
Okay.
Prudential is also being owed by Real Product. Yes. So we both took Real Product to court, and they did the first attachment. So the court is looking up to Prudential to first receive before Cocoa Board.
So it's important to correct the earlier statement that you made, that you are Prudential is your guarantor. Otherwise, the answer you provide here will look some way. And what is the? Do you have evidence actually that you supplied the quantity of beans that Cocoa Board said they supplied to Wanko? Because you're saying there's a contest as to the real quantities that was supplied. How do you track the beans that you give to these companies such that you will not experience this kind of situation? Because from the narration, it looks like they are contesting the figures. And have you on your own possibly done checks that truly these quantities were issued to them?
We have the data. The MD for cocoa marketing companies here, we had the data, the sales that have been done to that are given to WAMCO, but the contention is that the majority shareholder is claiming that at the time these sales were done, they were not involved in the management of WAMCO. The minority shareholder, that minority being government of Ghana, was in full control. So they are arguing that they cannot pay, you know, for that, something which they were not privy to. So that's where the bone of contention is, which had also been at court and still hadn't been resolved. Yes.
Okay, so at the time they joined and became majority shareholders, maybe they didn't have the, is it that they didn't have the revelation of this, I'll call hidden debt, or they knew, but now realizing that since government was majority participant then, that should not be passed onto them. But because you say the matter is in court, maybe, Mr. Chairman, we may not have to go so much into it. So let's leave that. As for CPC, it's our own, so I will not worry much about that. But are we assured?
How is CPC your own?
Eh?
How is CPC your own?
Government of Ghana, because
which one is not for government of Ghana?
You say?
Which one is not for government of Ghana? All of us for government of Ghana.
No, some that are private.
Okay.
Government of Ghana have some share, but I think Afrotropic or the rest may not be. So, but we'll move on, Mr. Chairman. Auditors, the information provided, I believe you have gone through it, and you okay?
Honorable Chair, yes, the process is ongoing. So the outstanding bill is 68,278,704.36 US dollars. Thank you.
But CEO, can you assure us that you are very convinced that the processes you are putting in place could help Cocoa Board at least retrieve the funds owe them? Are we likely to see some light at the end of the day?
Honorable Chair, that of CPC, which is the bulk of this amount, is being turned into equity. That will only increase the size of that is a government share. Not even that's government's equity in government investment in CPC. So it then makes that issue moot. Now, with regards to plots, plot is on cost paying, and we are also doing our best to. You can see that the payment had been on for the past 4 years, and we do our best to collect. Now, the other one, that is real product, is where you have a challenge, because this company is no more in existence, and tracking it is now become problematic. And we can't even trace the company. That's a reality. So that one, when their assets, are to be disposed, again there you have Prudential being the first to have the option. It gives, Cocoa Board a little chance of having our debt, repaid. So with real products, I think we have a challenge there. And this had to be made known to the committee.
Sir,
and then apart from that, we put in place a debt collection unit, to be tracing all these debtors to collect whatever they owe us. But as I said, the problem has to do with real products. Yes.
Sir, in the case of the real product, did both Cocoa Board and Prudential Bank went to the same court or different courts?
The whole thing is that we went to court. The point is that once one goes to court, okay, I'm told it's the same court, Secondary High Court, but then the Prudential went first before Cocoa Board. And that's why they have fair option to attaching the.
I believe that's what the law says. Otherwise, I was looking at how you share, since both of you have suffered in their hands, how you will share from the proceeds of, because if they are allowed to take everything and clear their debt, and if something is left before they will consider you, that would have been unfair, but that's what the law says. So, so let's move on. Chairman, unless somebody has a follow-up, I'll move to the next. Thank you very much. The next one is to do with advances you gave to LBCs that you have not been able to recover as at the time of audit. And the list of the companies are there. Above buyers, Diaby Limited, Mappy Enterprise, Farmers Alliance, Fortune 3 C Limited, Sunshine Commodities, Splendid Business Services Limited, and the seed fund you gave them, plus the interest that have accrued from the time of giving these funds is stated. What's the current status of this since the audit?
Starting with Abuafo buyers. In the case of Abuafo buyers, Cocoa Board obtained judgment against Unique Insurance as a grantor for Abuafo buyers company. The grantor filed an application for an order of stay of execution and a notice of appeal. Remember, Chair, the docket then got missing from the registry of the court. Cocoa Board have since brought a new docket for the registry of the court from our own docket and have applied to the registry to place the matter of the hearing of the application for stay of execution before a judge. The matter is pending currently. So that is for Abuafo.
If I may ask, when was the last time, or it's not been relisted at all yet? You haven't commenced the process?
No, we've prepared a new docket for the court, and we are yet to hear from the court.
Oh, okay.
Roxanne want to do a follow-up.
Chairman, thank you. It's not portions of it, but a whole docket, civil matter. Did you petition the Office of the Chief Justice in this matter?
No. No.
Why didn't you? Because you filed a process, you paid filing fees, and the registrar of the court supposed to be in custody of your docket. And so if as a party, no, I'm fighting for you. If as a party you filed a case, paid appropriate filing fees, and the registrar cannot produce your docket, that is an indictment on the court and our justice delivery system. So you, in addition to you bringing industry to build a new docket from the processes that you have as a party that went to court, you need to petition. You need to petition. Because the docket couldn't have vanished from the docket room. You should be interested in how the docket got missing. Because you see, it will thwart the progress of the case. It will delay the case further. And as a party, that's not your interest. It's important that you petition. It's important.
Honorable Chair, this council is well noted. And we want to thank the honorable member for the council.
Okay. So the next one.
Diaby Company Limited has made some payments and still has some outstanding amount to pay. In fact, the seed fund for Diaby was guaranteed by, that is the NTHC. Cocoa Board obtained judgment against NTHC on 7 November 2017 as the grantor for Diaby Company Limited. Cocoa Board subsequently initiated steps to execute the judgment. Thereafter, the company has made initial deposit of 250,000 Ghana cedis. Further repayments have stalled, and Cocoa Board is pursuing further lawful actions to obtain full payment. of the amount due from, that is the guarantor.
Well, Mr. Chairman, even though they have paid something, it's not impressive at all, considering the seed fund that was granted them, over 5 million, and they've paid only 250. And if you add interest, it takes the figure to over 10 million. I think the guarantor must be pursued. Is NTHC still in business, sir? Business. So I think we should put some more pressure on them. 250 is not a good payment from them, considering the long period. This is almost 10 years. Yeah. The third one.
Honorable Chair, the third one has fully paid. That's a Mapai Enterprise. They owed 368,898.34, and this has been fully recovered.
Well, that's good. Even though the amount is small, they have made full what they are supposed to pay, and that's good. The same should apply to those who owe big. So the fourth one, Farmers Alliance.
Equally, Farmers Alliance, which owed over 500 million Ghana cedis, 588,000 Ghana cedis, has fully paid.
Fortune 3.
Fortune, Cocoa Board has been able to recover an amount of 100,228.8 Ghana cedis from our CTORs. Now, these are receipts or invoices that the license buying companies bring to Cocoa Board for payment. And because Fortune is still operation, what we do is that the CTRs that are brought, we deduct a source to recover the debt. And through that, we've been able to recover 100,228.98 Ghana cedis, and we continue to recover through the same process.
Well, I think for them also, the amount paid is not, especially that liquidation of the responsible bank took place, but another bank kind of took responsibility. So you must pursue GCB Bank Limited to see how they can help you. I know they have been supporting you in some ways, in other ways, but it doesn't mean that because of that they shouldn't pay what they owe you. So the next one, Sunshine Commodities.
Honorable Chair, Sunshine had fully paid. We've recovered.
Oh, that's good. And that one too, the small ones they are paying. It's the big ones that. But the problem with Sunshine is that we don't have how much was given them as seed fund in the report. Auditors, why was that the case? Item 6. We are only, is the interest that we are seeing. On what amount did you calculate the interest? Well, I think it means that the principal was paid, but interest wasn't paid. Exactly. So it was interest that they were ordered to pay. Thank you, Auditor. Since you had We want to
Honorable
move.
Chair, it was not provided. That is what is in the
Well,
report.
I think it's been explained that they paid the seed money, but then they didn't pay interest. So that was why we are only seeing the interest there. That's fine. And the last one, splendid business services. Say.
In the case of Splendid, Cocoa Board initiated court action against the LBC, that's the Splendid Business Services Limited, and the guarantor, that is a Star Assurance Company Limited, for the recovery of the outstanding seed fund. The guarantor has filed a defense to the suit. The case is at the pre-trial stage. So we are at court at the moment on this matter.
Well, Mr. Chairman, yeah, for now, if anybody has any follow-up, but I think we've been given much information on this. Those that are in court are in court. We can't pursue further than urge that they will continue to follow up on the issue. Thank you.
Thank you. What is the case about? Are they challenging the amounts reported in the reports, or what? What is their claim?
Honorable Chair, you know, the wheels of justice grind slowly sometimes. So this a case whereby they think they also need some kind of fairness. So they've gone to court exactly for that. And while they are in court, we cannot do anything. Our hands are tied, you know, just to listen to what the court will say.
At the time of giving them this support, where they took the seed fund, I believe they signed a document that indicates how the repayment will be done. And is Cocoa Board having those documents to support you in court? Do you have all those to support you in court?
Yes, Chairman. These are the very documents that we've tendered in court.
All right, so you are in court. So this committee has the powers of a high court, but we can't pronounce on this matter. We'll leave it to the traditional court to do. Thank you very much. So we'll continue to the next one will be done by Honorable Dakwa, paragraph 2003 to 2009.
Thank you, Chair. So you've been cited for unliquidated advances for goods and services to various vendors, okay? The Auditor General's report, it revealed that advances to suppliers to a tune of 5,380,000 Ghana cedis was advanced by the board to suppliers for various goods and services without evidence of work done or services provided. Okay, so let's go to table 133. It shows the list of payments that had been made or advances. I don't know if you pre-financed or it gives us a long list between the years of 2015 to 2017. These infractions took place. There are some significant ones, like 50% advance payment for legal services provided to Cocoa Board. The payee was Letha Brew and Company. This is a tune of 2 million Ghana cedis, okay? And the auditor is telling us that you don't have any form of evidence to prove that these services were rendered. In 2017, some cargo handling equipment by Pasico, okay, an amount of 3.1 million Ghana cedis, and you don't have any evidence to show that you received these goods. As it stands, we are in 2022, okay? I would like us to go through the list, and you can update us on where we stand, the outstandings and the ones that have been cleared. Is that fine? All right, so I'm starting. The first one, this refers to 2015, an amount of 4,800 Ghana cedis. It was paid to 1+1 Furniture City. This was to procure dining and TV sets. Can you tell us if you have provided any evidence to show that you actually received the dining sets?
Honorable Chair, the auditors are here. The whole thing is that the total outstanding amount to the tune of 3,252,778.63 Ghana cedis relating to all these, outstanding issues had been dealt with. And as at now, the records for retirement available, they've been retired. The works and services have been executed and retired. And I think the auditors are here and can...
Can you please repeat the amount? I have 5.3 million Ghana cedis, but I heard you say 3 million.
Yes, we reconciled the whole amount with the... Yeah, yes. Because from the beginning, when this audit was done, this is dating back 2015. Yes, 16, 17. So from that time to date, they've been doing the executing works and services, and we were left with 3,252,778.63. Okay. This was what was standing. And as of today, it's been retired, it's been fully executed and then retired.
Thank you. Auditors, can you confirm what he's telling us?
Honorable Chair, yes, over the years, they were continuing executing the services and the works. So as at the time that we were following up for the current status, the 3 million that we were having in our books had been retired. All the services were provided and the works were done. Out of subsequently, they were retiring some, but as at the time that we were following up, we were having the 3 million in yes. So as at currently, they have provided all the works and the services. Thank you.
All right, so that's fine. So we're just to confirm, the full amount of 5 million has been cleared. That's
exactly.
All.
Honorable Chair, yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's move to the next one. Honorable Roxanne, paragraph 2010.
2010. Chairman, thank you. CEO, you are welcome.
Thank you.
The first infraction noted by the auditors is in respect of some interest that have not been accounted for. I have seen your management letter. You have indicated that it's all been properly retired now. When did that happen, sir? Or you can fall on the auditors.
No. These are impressed to be retired, and they get retired as and when, the activities are done or accomplished. So, and this is not just one bulk activity. There's a number of them, and they got retired individually as and when they were accomplished. And as of today, all of them have been cleared.
CEO, I don't want to be hard on you. Otherwise, you see, if you tell me that as of today, they've all been retired, I know that you operate within a calendar year. And so, even though this impress may be tied to a project, at the end of every year, whatever monies have been given to you, you would have retired it and then asked for more in the coming year. These are 2016, 2017 occurrences. So I want you to assure the committee that even though these were flagged by the auditors for not retiring impress given to them within a certain period, the practice is no longer happening. That's the assurance I want to hear from you. But if you say that, oh, there were monies given to people to retire them as a when, you are encouraging flagging it all the time. You know. So when you are giving impress, maybe for 3 months, you have to retire it. Then you can ask for more. But you don't let the money stay with you and you retire it as and when you think that the program is over. So I won't belabor the point. Just assure the committee that now impress given to officers are retired on time. That's all we want to hear.
Honorable Chair, it's a tall order that you are giving me, because the point is that at the time the auditors came, impress had been taken, work was ongoing, you know. So when, yes, for instance, if, you know, we are dealing with field officers. So when they are going to the field and they've taken impress at a time when auditors are in, that task had not been completed at that point. So it's not difficult for them to retire when auditors. So on record, we will indicate and admit to recommendation of the auditors that yes, we will make sure that they retire. And that's what we've done now. And to come before this August committee to come and make a pledge that it will never happen, Chairman, that's why I'm saying it's a tall order for me.
See you.
I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but the point is that we are dealing with human beings, so we do our best to prevent it.
You see, that's why you are the CEO. The auditors flagged this because it breached our laws. When, as a public officer, you are given public money to expend on a public program, the law requires that you retire the impress when you come back. You are creating the impression that once you are given the money and the program is not exhausted, you don't have to come back until it's done. But I'm saying that when auditors are coming, you need to put your house in order. You could call the officers and say, you have impressed, but come back, retire them, and when the audit is done, then you can be given more money to go back. Otherwise, then it becomes pervasive. The auditors will keep flagging it. You come before the committee, you are unable to assure the committee. You are unable to assure the committee that the practice will stop. So it becomes cyclical. But we need to put an end to it. Impressed, you account. Then you take more, then you account. Then you take more, then you account. There has to be a period of accountability. Then you can give more. CEO, that's what I'm saying.
Thank you, Chair. But Honorable Chair, maybe you give me some guidance here, because when the impress is in process.
In order to give guidance, I want to ask further question. What is the average duration to retire the impress from the point of taking the impress and to the time to retire? Or in other words, your programs, your field programs, how long does it take?
According to our policy, 2 weeks after, you've returned from field, then you retire.
So if you add the time the program takes on the field,
yes,
to the 2 weeks, how long will it?
Sometimes they go for about 1 month. For example, those who go and do the the counting of, pots and so on and so forth. They take more than 1 month to come back. And if within that period, auditors are in, I think I'm being guided that we should record them to the office for them to retire before they go back.
So, CEO, the audit service law says that when the auditors are leaving your organization, they usually hold exit conference with the management, and these issues will be discussed. The outstanding ones, like this one, the interest not retired, becomes one of the outstanding issues. Now, when they leave your premises, you have 1 month, that's the law, 30 days, to provide further information to respond to the issue discussed at the audit conference, exit conference. Do you propose that that law is amended to extend the period for which, taking into consideration what you have discussed, they have come for impress, they've gone to the field, they spend 1 month, they come back, the auditors have gone and left. You have only 30 days to supply this information. But then they were maybe still on the field. Do you propose that we amend the Audit Service Act to increase the 1 month period given to you to respond to the issues?
No, Honorable Chair. Once laws are made, they are made for everybody without exception. So we will have to find a way, to deal with this problem, because it's becoming a challenge for our staff, especially when we have, on one hand, we have the law, requesting them to be in line at a certain point, and at the same time, the job prescription is also asking them to be in the field. I think it's a matter of balancing the act, and management will see how best we can do that.
All right, so that will be the direction that you're asking me to do. As management, you need to devise means to ensure that you don't go against the law. Thank you. So,
Chairman, thank you very much. Indeed, the recommendation of the auditors is that the retirement of the employee should be on time. That's all we want to ensure, that it's a timely retirement of the employee. Then 2, the other issue, it's that some services were rendered, monies paid, but VAT appropriately paid, but invoices not issued. And in one instance, the auditors suspect that the entities were not registered to collect VAT. I won't belabor the point, but what's the situation now? Have this been regularized? Yes. Okay. Very well. Auditors, can you confirm this?
Honorable Chair, yes, we saw the VAT receipts. Thank you.
When did they submit to you?
Honorable Chair, when we were to get the current status, that we were able to get all those documents and information. Thank you.
Okay, Chairman, that will be all.
all right, so we'll move on to actually paragraph 2024. Unrecovered fertilizer sales from agents. So I want Honorable Kennedy to take that on paragraph 2024.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, paragraph 2024. Unrecovered fertilizer sales from agents amounting to 115 million plus. Mr. Chairman, I want to find out from Cocoa Board, the CEO. Section 91(1) of the Public Management Act 2016 states that the board of directors of a public corporation governed by this act shall ensure the efficient management of the financial resources of the public corporation, including the collection and receipt of monies due to the public corporation. Subsection 2 further states that where a public corporation willfully or negligently fails to ensure that money due to that public corporation are collected or received, the minister shall, upon recommendation of Auditor General, withdraw or suspend the emolument of the members of the governing body of the public corporation, either jointly or severally. Mr. CEO, are you aware of this provision in the Public Management Act?
Yes, Honorable Chair.
So what do you have to say to an amount of 115 million for fertilizer sales which were not recovered?
Honorable Chair, out of the 115,214,942 Ghana cedis, 42.4 million Ghana cedis have been recovered. And we still have 72,778,464.21 cedis, Ghana cedis. Honorable Chair,
kindly mention the figure again. The one you've retrieved, or
42,436,476.79.
Okay.
Honorable Chair, the retrieval of fertilizer sales to cocoa farmers have become a very topical issue because of the politicization of the whole matter. Now, the fertilizers we are talking about here were actually procured in 2011-2012. And at that time, we had the fertilizers were given to LBCs and then input companies to sell on behalf of, Ghana Cocoa Board. At that point, the policy of government was subsidy fertilizer. Government paid parts, and then the farmers, paid the difference. But in 2013-2014, a new policy came to place. That's free fertilizer for farmers. Now, immediately that policy came to place, farmers who had collected fertilizers the previous year, one, they refused to pay. Number two, they also, stayed away from the old stock from 2011-2012. They stayed away from those stocks. And then went free fertilizer. Since then, Honorable Chair, farmers, have always resisted the payment of fertilizers given to them, even on subsidy. So at the time we came in 2017, this amount was outstanding, and we found it very, very difficult to retrieve, because for farmers, they've been told not to pay. The fertilizer is free. And I'm sure we'll be coming here again on this same matter, because subsequently, the fertilizer that we've given to farmers on subsidy, still, they don't want to pay because of the politicization of the whole matter. And we've been able to retrieve 42 million, but in this particular instance, that's dating back to 2016, 2017, we still have 72 million to recover. That's the situation on the ground.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I want to find out from the...
And let me add that we put in place a debt collection unit to chase these monies, but it's not easy. In fact, we've gone to our board, and we even want to come and meet Parliament and discuss this matter openly, because farmers, say that they've been told not to pay, and therefore they won't pay.
Who told them?
Oh,
ROCO, who told them not to pay?
Honorable, I thought this was in the, we don't have to open the...
No, you say you are using they. Who told them? Because
politicians.
Your explanation...
Politicians.
Your explanation says that there was a policy of subsidy.
Subsidy, yes.
Then later, there was policy of free. Then you also say that they stay away from the old stock. I didn't understand that statement, though. When you say they stay away from the old stock to go for the free, I don't really understand
Chairman,
that.
That one, when fertilizers are brought, it takes time for all of them to be distributed. So at the time farmers were procuring the fertilizers, that's subsidized fertilizer, a new regime came and then introduced free fertilizer. We still had old stock of the subsidized fertilizer, and the farmers stayed away from the old stock subsidized fertilizer and went in for the free fertilizer.
So what happened to the old stock?
Oh, Chairman, I think they are all part of this cost, because they were not collected. Chairman,
it means that the farmers collected them and used them. So you can't say they stay away from
some, but not all.
Stock.
I think there was a publication, was it 2 years or so ago, whereby some fertilizers went bad at saying dumping. Yeah, they were part of that fertilizer.
So what is the current policy on the fertilizer?
It's subsidy.
It's
subsidy.
So
still we are finding challenge. That's why I'm saying
you are finding challenge even with that subsidy. You prefer the free.
Of course, anything free.
Any reasonable person will approve. But let me ask this question before you continue. Whatever policy government take, either subsidy or free, government factor that into the pricing of the cocoa beans, isn't it?
Exactly so.
So, will you support an argument that we go for free and factor it into the pricing? Once is the free that the farmers want, we're going for free, then we'll factor into the pricing. Don't you think that will be the way to go?
Honorable Chair, I will not advise for free fertilizer, because we all know what happened to the free fertilizer. At the time free fertilizer was introduced, that was when our production started going down. If you check the records, our production, dipped from around 1 million and hit almost 740,000 tons. Meanwhile, fertilizers were free, all because our fertilizers found their way to Cote d'Ivoire, to Cameroon, even to Cameroon, to Nigeria, to Togo. Because in these places, fertilizer is not subsidized. It's not free. It's not even subsidized, let alone to be free. Fertilizer is bought at the market price. So when you make your fertilizer free, you find all your fertilizer going out of the country to support farmers of other countries.
So which one will you advise? There are 3 options: free, subsidy, full cost. Which one will you advise?
Chairman, I initially supported subsidy in the sense that the capacity, of our farmers, their ability to pay had been very weak. Because if a farmer is producing 450 kilos per hectare, less than $3, per acre, and we are going to apply full cost, it becomes difficult. So you subsidize for a farmer to build himself up. Then you can apply full cost. We haven't gotten there yet. I think we are somewhere, because we've now moved the farmers from 450 kilos to 600 kilos per hectare. We are aiming at 1,000 plus. Once we get beyond 1,000, and some of the farmers are already making more than 1,000 kilos per hectare. Once we get there, every farmer, will willingly pay for the full cost. But until we get there, I will want to, prescribe subsidy. Even though you don't get subsidy anywhere in the developing world.
Then we'll continue to debate this issue. You'll continue to come here because you face the challenges all the time.
Chairman, that is so, but we have to hold the hands of our farmers to carry them along. And I think the subsidy is midway, instead of free, and then once we make it free, Chairman, I can assure you, we will not have any bag of fertilizer here. And we know, there are so many stories surrounding how these fertilizers were carried outside. We know, and we don't want to go there.
We learned some of them. Camel was pulling camel pulling this, and there is nobody giving them the way, but they were able to enter the other country. Is it true?
Chairman, I'm not aware of that, but I know that some politicians.
That's the Minister of Agri.
I know that some politicians were actually influencing the smuggling.
But you are a politician yourself.
Well, Chairman.
And you are in charge of the fertilizer. So you are the best person to influence it.
I'm not.
Question. I have a question. I think the concern, Chief Executive, I think the concern of the auditors is to ensure that these sales to farmers and lances buying companies